Every dabby dabby yeah, baby, yeah. Yeah. Every dabby dabby yeah, baby, yeah. It's dabby 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 yeah, baby, yeah. Every dabby 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 yeah, baby, yeah. So take nothing from his words. Not add anything to it, so we destroyed the earth by water the first time. He promised to never do that again, so keep that on your mind while you sitting back, listen to rainbow in the skies, where all the birds will fly. He said I will destroy it by fire the second time. No lie, I won't even pretend I understand all of the book of Revelation, but I do understand quite plainly what we are facing. I wish to spend eternity with God and His Son. I believe in the second coming of the exact same one, looking at any events unfolding as a child. The mark of the beast, artificial intelligence, microchips, man, I mean, wow. No cash, digital currency, total government dependency, control over choices when we are just trying to raise a family. Working long hours, some even 2 jobs, a lot of things go unnoticed or just go over our norms. No one can comprehend how bad things will be, but we see it happening every day like Abby C. Bit by bit on the news every day. Look at how the devil been doing this since the very first day. Some people choose the Antichrist and forgotten about the rapture. I don't know when the day will be or the day right after. I'm just not trying to be left behind. When that's what time blows your mind, believe right now that God, I'll be out, is giving us all a second chance to turn our lives around or face a circumstance. Hey. Live according to His will and get God's message out. You'll understand it later. It sounds like I'm just running my mouth until the good Lord calls me home, wherever that may be. I just hope it's the best place that anyone will ever see. So I want to make it clear right now that I believe in Jesus Christ as the one and only true Lord and Savior of all of our lives. Despite the fact that I fail a lot, I believe that Jesus is all I got. He's the son of Abiyah. And I accept this free gift, it wasn't bought. And all of this was only done through His death on the cross. This isn't a challenge, it's more of a free choice. And you're the boss, now let the Holy Spirit move you the way you'll never take a loss. I trust Abiyah, our Father of all things, because through Jesus Christ is how He knew that I was Kareem. Of course He knows us. Of course He knows us. By all of our names. Dabby 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 dow dabby dow. Dabby 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 dow dabby dow. Dabby 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 dabby. Dabby 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 dow.
Well, all right. Timing is everything. And another original song by the one and only Seventh Dance Lady Karima. Hey, you're now tuned into the Lion's Den, the segment titled The Conversation Continues. Welcome, one and all. Now, last night we could have been on, but if you were tuned in, you saw a very high-powered presentation put on by Killer Priest, also known as Karamaya, okay, wherein you had the one and only JJ 7000 or Mali Mandika, Indigenous Black Man, and Seth Kuhedi, if I'm saying it correctly. You know, they went into all aspects of everything scientific. See, this is what makes the Lion's Den absolutely unique.
And that was my twin brother once again. I produced the song, made the beat, but that was my twin brother, Kareem.
Okay. Thank you, Seventh Answer, for the correction. I didn't use my magnifying glass to look at the original music and all that. Thank you for filling that in. So let me continue. Now you know that, yes, she has collaborations at times. So with that being said, like I said, last night, there was a high-powered dynamic show on, which makes the Lion's Den so beautiful and unique, and that you can tune in and you'll find a vast array of different conversations that transpire And so last night, you got hit with science, talking about math to alchemy. But tonight, we're going to take you in a whole nother direction. We're going to bring it back to all things earthly. Okay? But still, the Lion's Den. And we're your hosts, the seventh answer, Lady Karima, a.k.a. Black Beauty Inc., but also she is Dark Delight. Why? Because in the beginning was darkness, and out of darkness came the light. And the Lion's Den is indeed that light, one of the many lights to guide you. All right? And I am your brother, your friend, and your servant, Dark Storm. And as always, unapologetically, we give an honor to the Lord in Christ, from whom all positive thoughts flow, as this is his presentation. Okay? All we are his stewards and mouthpieces to say what need to be said, should be said, and how it should be said. And that is in the pure, unadulterated truth. And therefore, we always want to let you know that when you tune to the Lion's Den, the three biblical structures that are the foundation of this wonderful social media truthality, listening experience and experiment you're now on, are shaped by the book of Isaiah, the 41st chapter, verses 21 through 24, which tells us what? Produce your cause. I'm getting them transposed. We're here to produce our cause, bring forth our strong bodies of evidence, and let you know the truth, the whole truth, and none but the gospel truth, which goes into 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter, at verse 21, where we're always ready, willing, and able to prove all things that we say. And of course, we are strong advocates, proponents, and we propagate freedom of speech, but responsible speech. And what is the rule, law, and ethic that governs free speech? The science of speaking freely. You must think before you speak. Therefore, we go with Proverbs 13, the 13th chapter, at verse 3, where the good Lord states, he, or that she, because that's interchangeable, he or that she that keepeth their mouth, keepeth their life. What the good Lord is saying is that before you go rattling off, talking, and speaking freely, please give careful consideration of what you say before you say, because there's also that abuse of speech, which is called abuse. And sometimes you can say the wrong thing at the wrong time to the wrong person and get yourself seriously hurt. So we think before we speak. And of course, you know, this all now goes into the 8 eyes. Because like I said, Lady Karima, Black Beauty Inc., the 7th answer, Dark Delight. Because again, in the beginning was darkness, and she brings forth the light. Because from city to city and state to state, without no follow, bleep, bloops, or blunders. When you step into the Lion's Den, you will definitely encounter many a miracle and wonder. And like the late Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin, and Mr. Curtis Mayfield, we're going to give you something that you can feel. And again, that is a direct but powerful truthality listening experience or experiment, which is also shaped by the 8 eyes, because we bring you ingenuity, influence, integrity, inspiration, influence, intelligence, insight, independence, insight, and information. I want to make sure I say them in order. And you also roll with the pride when you roll with the lion and lioness. Pride, Pride. There is such a thing as righteous pride. And we're always permanently ready in destroying evil, starting with our own. When you see the seventh answer in myself, all we are, yes, we're diamonds with a flaw. We don't walk as Mr. and Mrs. Perfect. We have our shortcomings, but still, when you chip away the flaw, you get perfection. So it's still a diamond with a flaw is still a diamond with much value. Keep that in mind. And so we always rise to our God self in both the masculine and feminine form. And also, we are one of the many factions of the anti-coon movement. And you know what a coon is? Spelled C-O-O-N. That is a complete, obvious, obedient, yes, a boss nigger. We don't do that here. No samboing, no buck dancing, no Stephen from Django, no handkerchief head. None of that. We don't do that here. Why? Because we can't be bought, and more importantly, we're not going to be sold. And of course, this is the home of point, counterpoint. Sometimes we may not agree 100% out the 95% that we agree, but to get to the 100%, hey, we may have a little jousting here and there on differences of opinion and little technicalities, which gets us to the perfection of 100%. It's all done in love too, baby. Why? Because it's okay. At the start and end of every day, it's all right to respect differing opinions and outlooks on things. And oh yeah, to our haters, to those who hate what we do, please understand, to the haters, we didn't like you yesterday, and we're not going to like you right now. Haters, we don't need you at any given time. We don't need you right now. All right? Just so you know, how you feel about us is how we feel about you. But you do inspire us. One of the 8 eyes, you do inspire us to make sure that we own our job, to knock out lies and deceptions. Because you know why? In the spirit of Conan the Barbarian, the seventh answer, Lady Karima, she walks with the communication of steel. She understands that we are sworn to crush our enemies, show no mercy, and listen to the boo-hoo crying of all the haters, kooks, and crazies who dare come against us. In the immortal words of Iron Mike Tyson, how dare you come up against us with your primitive skills? You're just as good as dead. Because here in the lion's den, we hunt, we pray, and we discombobulate all liars and deceivers. That's our job. It's what we were born to do. And so, for those of you who can't handle the truthality, for those of you who can't handle the facts that we bring, and that's frequently accurate, correct truths, the seventh answer and I, we may show some sympathy and empathy, but not so much that we care. Because you know why? We're not going to compromise for nobody, ever. So you can scram, skedaddle, beat it, get up out of here. As this show will continue to go on. And you're being hit with Virgo energy. That's right. We are tactical. We're practical. We're analytical, political, critical. But we strive to never be hypocritical. And last but certainly not least, when you step into the lion's den, please understand to follow one of the house rules set forth by our beautiful family member, I Am Manna, who said some time ago, when you step into the lion's den, please wipe your feet, mind your manners, conduct yourself in an orderly manner, and enjoy yourself. Because again, haters and anybody else out there trying to come up in here and cause ruckus, well, the lioness will come out Don't let that pretty face fool you. And she will break you down with the quickness, work you out like physical fitness, hit you with so many combinations, not even a Jehovah will witness. So you understand that. And with all these formalities now out the way, yo, let's get it in, y'all. Let's get it in. Tonight, tonight's topic of discussion, it's a tad bit touchy, but you see the title. Hey, y'all, do you see the pattern? The price of speaking freely. Hold on for a second, you all. The price of speaking freely. What we're going to discuss tonight is the fact that over the last decade, from 2016 to 2026 now, and even before that, though, there's been a lot of things transpiring in the society that are very questionable. Now, in the spirit of being full of integrity, and of course, making sure that you understand that when you tune in, we're going to make sure we always are honest about everything. I'm going to say this here, that the seventh answer, now we don't really get all into conspiracy theories or, well, especially the theory part. We don't really do that. But speaking for myself on this one here, I won't speak for her. I'm just going to say I've been noticing something, a pattern. Now, what's a pattern, you all? There's some of you know what a pattern is. But in the context, let's say, of events, things that happen, there's a pattern wherein we have a series of events that continue to constantly, always happen. It's every time you look up, something just happens time and time and time and time and time again. And over the last decade or so, I've been noticing a pattern of, people who were at one time prominent influencers and bloggers, because there's a difference between being an influencer and being a blogger. But still, I've been noticing a pattern where you have one-time influencers, some of whom I actually followed and listened to, who came down with a severe case of death, or they're no longer here. They're missing, and unaccounted for. Now, again, I must say in the area of integrity, because I don't have the necessary monies that I would like to have to be able to do my own private investigation on some of these unfortunate disappearances or how you say, all of a sudden deaths that transpired. Still, it's a pattern that I've been noticing. All right. Now, there's some people who may say, well, wait, hold on, Dark Storm. Hold on, Seventh Answer. What about the fact these might just be a series of unfortunate coincidences? Now, that's where I'll come in and say, wait a minute, hold on. When you look up the word coincidence, the universally accepted definition of the word coincident is when you have a series of events that are unrelated, but they all of a sudden just happen. Like, for instance, like just last week and over the weekend, right? You had a huge warehouse fire in Ontario, California, in the Rancho Cucamonga, if I'm saying that right, in that particular section, right? And then come to find out, here in my neck of the woods, New York, big city of dreamers, there was a warehouse fire out in the borough of Queens. And there were some other fires that took place out of Ohio, because we covered that incident. And yeah, a fire in big warehouse fire, New York, Cali, Ohio, and I forget the other state. But the point is, now in a situation like that, that's a coincidence. Here you have these 1, 2, 3, 4 fires, warehouse, which may be possibly due to arson or deliberate arson, like the Ontario, California situation. There you go. That's a coincidence. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4. But if you say all out the blue, we learned that 15 or more other warehouse and structural fires took place, which could be possibly related to disgruntled employees. See, that becomes a pattern. So in this particular instance, we've had over the years influencers, bloggers, some of who were covering or uncovering high profile corruption, or rumored to be uncovering some unsavory and, how you say, just downright evil events going on in society at large. And then all of a sudden, as I said in the beginning of the presentation, they wound up coming down with a severe case of death. Then there were some who all of a sudden their lover, their wife, their husband or whatever, decided they want just to take them out. But it's just the timing of everything. Like I said, I can't prove anything because I can't do my own investigation, which costs, which takes money, the uncovering of information, getting the families of these people's who no longer getting their permission to be able to delve into the issue. But the point I'm making is the timing of it. All the entire sudden passing of these individuals. Like, take for instance, NBA Hall of Famer, and all around, in some circles, a very nice soul, a nice guy. Take for instance Kobe Bryant, right? Who, as we all know, sadly passed away in a tragic helicopter crash with his beautiful daughter, Gianna. Now, again, I can't prove anything. I can't do my own personal investigation, but it's kind of funny and odd that here it is, right? When Kobe Bryant suddenly passed away due to his wanting to take his private helicopter in a dense fog, and his experienced pilot took him up, and then all of a sudden they crashed. Kobe was in a battle, and I do mean battle, with high-tech pharmaceutical company. And Kobe was putting a full court press on high-tech pharmaceutical company because of their infringing on his Black Mamba label and brand, and not to mention putting out products with his Black Mamba name and likeness and all that, and not paying him. So Kobe took it to him. Kobe had him dead to rights. And not to mention, he also uncovered that they were putting product, performance in their performance enhancement products. There were certain ingredients that will be frowned upon by certain sports administrations, when they testing you. So Kobe had high-tech pharmaceutical and their investors. He had them jammed. And then all of a sudden, he winds up being involved with a crash and burn. I'm not trying to be funny when I say that. And he's no longer here. And high-tech pharmaceutical, that lawsuit and all that stuff, well, let's just say it suddenly got settled. I'm just saying, can't prove anything, but it's about timing is everything. As Mally Mendika would say so famously. Timing is everything. So what we're going to do tonight, right? We're going to investigate. We're going to just put out there, not investigate. We're going to put some events that transpired some years ago, videos and images from some years ago, but at the behest of the seventh answer to make sure we have all our bases covered. I did some digging to find out if some of the people who were missing have been found. And to this day, some of them are still missing and unaccounted for. I don't want to say they're presumed dead, but worst case scenario, here what I'm gonna say. As seventh answer may observe, maybe they got paid off, they good, they don't want to be found. But my point is, all that we're going to present to you tonight, these individuals, they were, again, influencers, bloggers, who started unearthing some very, colorful and mean-spirited things that were going on in society. And they were letting it be known. And now they're no longer here. All right? It's just something that we want you to just be aware of. Speaking freely. Let's not pretend that we don't understand that there's certain clandestine agencies and people out here who, in the area of big money and big business, if you present a threat to them, you might just find yourself, being put up out of getting up out of here. You look at Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, Robert Francis Kennedy, Huey P. Newton, Bobby Hutton, Fred Hampton. Some of you may know who they are, some of you may not. But the bottom line is, for those who go back that far and know who they are, what was the common denominator in all of them suddenly meeting with a sudden demise? When you look at all of them before their demise, they had started talking about and against certain dark areas of government and practice, or they were talking about the unfair and inequitable financial practices of this government and its system. They didn't like it. They didn't like what was going on. And then all of a sudden, they out of here, And let's take Huey P. Newton. Prior to him, he fell on some hard times. There's no getting around that. But it's kind of funny that in the time of his getting ready to make a comeback, if you want to call it that, and his linking up with legendary recording artist Tupac Shakur, whose mother, Afeni Shakur, was a Black Panther. But when they linked up together and Tupac's career was taking off once he got down with Digital Underground, and he was starting to go solo and all that. Huey P. Newton, gone. Suddenly got because he was dabbling in drugs, they always got to have a narrative. Okay. And he was out of here. I'm just saying, the timing of it all. Can't prove anything, but hey. And for the next 7 years, you had Tupac Shakur. He was, yes, caught up between wanting to be a servant of God or a servant of the devil. But what I will say is this here, once he started truly sprouting his wings and speaking about things that were going on, and you saw his brilliance, out of here. Out of here. Timing, you all. So what we're going to do throughout this discussion, right, is just bring out the facts that as we know them, and we're going to present certain information. But again, I've taken time out at the behest of the Seventh Answer. Where are they now? And some of the, on some of the missing, not the ones that were actually confirmed dead and gone. Some of whom the influencers and bloggers were suddenly, taken out by their disgruntled lover, friend, husband, wife. It's just it's funny how these lovers or husbands or whatever became murderous when their significant other became involved with uncovering and unearthing things that are unsavory in the society as we know it. So when we talk about, or we hear people say throughout the years that America, you can speak freely. You can say whatever you want to say. And this is the only country where you won't have any kind of reprisal, unlike all these other countries that have dictators. Well, we here at the Lion's Den, as we shed light on statements like that, we always come right behind and say, are you sure? So the pattern, do you notice it? And if you don't, well, we're going to take you through a litany of different people at different times. All right. And then you'll be the judge. And maybe some of you out there, maybe if your bankroll is huge, or you might be a private investigator, maybe we might inspire some of you out there to take up these people's causes and and if there was indeed some wrongdoing, maybe you might be the one that can get out there and uncover. All right. But all we do is pick up on certain things, and then we bring it to you for you to be the judge. All right. But again, we are integrity filled. We're not dealing with speculation. I want to make sure you understand. We're not dealing with speculation. We're not dealing with theories. But what we are dealing with is coincidence, if you want to call it that, first, and then pattern. It was coincidental that all the individuals, when they started delving into corruption, whether it be corporate, governmental, something that was going to be monumental and interfere with somebody's money-making machine, then all of a sudden, they're no longer here. They got missing. They driving along in their vehicle, do about 100 flips upside down. I'm just saying. But this is something again that we need to unearth. Because like I said, we had prominent leaders yesterday who was shut down. And, they had a quick narrative and a quick story to cover up. But to this day, all people are still wondering the truth. When you look at For instance, international superstar martial artist Bruce Lee. Prior to his passing, suddenly, because of a brain aneurysm, Bruce Lee had single-handedly secured a lot of financial and economic deals, roughly within the confines of about $20 million, which in today's economy would be about 100 or more plus $1 million, which was a lot of money for an Asian superstar, martial arts superstar, and businessman to secure without his handlers or anyone handling that business for him. And then suddenly, he passes away. Suddenly, brain aneurysm. He was sick. He had all kind of, he had a surgery that removed 3 of his sweat glands under his arms because he didn't like sweating. So many different stories. But the bottom line is a perfectly healthy man making a big lucrative financial deal and Xing out a lot of people who want to get in on Bruce Lee Mania. Hey, he just suddenly died. And then 20 years later, he died in 1973. And then 20 years later, Brandon Bruce Lee, his son, who had been in the industry for a minute, his breakout role in his Rapid Fire, the movie Rapid Fire. And next up was The Crow. But Brandon Lee took it upon himself, independent, by himself, scored a major motion picture deal single-handedly by himself with now defunct movie company Carolco Pictures. And then all of a sudden, he gets killed by a freak accident on a movie set. See, things like that. Can't prove anything. It's a conspiracy. Look, let's just stop. We just got to stop being stupid, okay? There ain't that many coincidences in the world. All right? There's a pattern. And on that note, look, 2016. In 2016 alone, we saw a number of celebrities who just started dropping like flies. And what was the title? All of them? Prince, Denise Matthews, but once known stage name Vanity, David Bowie, Kashif, all the way up until going into 2017, Aaron Moran, who we knew as Joni from Happy Days, Charlie Murphy, Afeni Shakur. What was the common denominator when all these people just started dropping back to back to back, going into 2016 to 2017? Oh yeah, that's right. They all
Yep, he'll be right back. Hi, everybody doing tonight? Please hit the like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Thank you for tuning in.
All right, my fellow conversationalists, I'm completely at fault. I'm gonna have to stop being so animated, doing all this banging and everything else, and wind up getting. I kicked myself off the show and all that. And let me tell you, I'm gonna calm down and not hit the wrong buttons and all that. Sorry for that long, lengthy delay. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. But like I was saying, I'm just making a point about all these sudden, passings of individuals who were outspoken, speaking freely, making all types of revelations. And, hey, like I said, we can't prove anything. But do you see the pattern? Do you see the price that come with speaking freely? That's why when you hear me say at times, it take a lot of heart to come out here and do what we're doing here in the Lion's Den, and other voices out here speaking and saying what need to be said and should be said. It takes a lot of heart because we are putting our lives at risk. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it, because again, when you are an advocate of truth and dare to point out certain things, those who make their money and those who live their lives on lies and corruption, they're not gonna like it. But hey, that's tough, because here it is. we live in a society now where people are robbing you blind, cheating you out of your fair share of the world's wealth and resources. And then look at you like you're crazy when you protest and say, yo, hold up, give me my money, or give me what's mine. Which is a pretty arrogant position to take, don't you think? Well, anyway, what we're gonna do, we're gonna run some videos and everything else, and we're gonna, like I said, make these presentations, and we'll leave it up to you out there in Lions Den land to make your decision. All right? And perhaps if by chance the ones who are missing and haven't been found, if they are out there living their lives quietly, well, okay, fine. More power to them. But again, what we're going to do is just just make these presentations. And then, again, leave it up to you out there in Lions Den land to make your, make your decision on if we're on to something or we're not. All right? Let me see who's talking real quick. As you're coming in, we welcome you. We have Salaya Ben Yah. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have on deck, as always, on time tonight. Wow. Tyrone Jango. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. And so when you are ready, Seventh Answer, let's get the ball rolling on these videos and stuff. Because again, like I said, the proof is in the pudding. And again, all we are doing is daring to talk about things that somehow so-called mainstream media, which we now know to be corporate-owned media, they don't talk about. Or if they watch the Lions Den and other Black media shows and content, then all of a sudden they'll talk about it. Because it's this copying syndrome that they all have. But we're gonna get the ball rolling. And like I said, we'll leave it up to you. Okay, so I see the Seventh Answer wants, I want to save the best for last, or if you want to call it that. But we can get it started. Let's go to Missouri. We're gonna take you to Missouri.
I'm gonna go from the top to the bottom. I'm not about to pick out what, I'm gonna start from the bottom to the top, the last video to up. So
yes, ma'am. Hey, no problem. Not a problem.
Tell me no order, but I figure these images should get out the way first because I'm not trying to go back and forth to different places. I'm trying to stay in one at a time.
All right, then. So we'll follow your lead. So we're going to look at Edward Crawford, ladies and gentlemen. You're looking at the picture of Mr. Edward Crawford, who suddenly, supposedly, committed suicide on May 8th of 2017. Now you might say, well, who was Edward Crawford? Lions Den. Who was Edward? Mr. Crawford was one of the many prominent and vocal leaders out there when you had the Michael Brown case out in Ferguson, Missouri. Remember Michael Brown, the young man who supposedly strong-armed a store for a box of cigars and was cut down by supposed police officer Derek Wilson. Remember that case? Hands up, don't shoot, the slogan. Here it is, you had a number of witnesses say that Michael Brown had his hands up when confronted by Derek Wilson, but somehow the mainstream media and Ferguson politicians, prosecutors or defense attorneys and prosecutors alike, they only took the testimony of all the witnesses who were in the back, who weren't directly in the line of sight on that event. Mr. Crawford, which like so many others, let it be known how he felt about that issue. And sometime later, after the whole event transpired, Mr. Edward Crawford is found May 8th, 2017, gone by way of suicide. Now, in fairness, now to make sure, following the Seventh Answers, blueprint, we're gonna say this here: we don't have access to Mr. Crawford's psychological profile. We don't know if he was indeed on edge. But my position, I'm going to speak for myself on this one here. It's just a matter of the coincidence, the sudden passing of this young man and the other images that the Seventh Answer is going to bring about. All right? And when you're ready, Seventh Answer, bring out the next image.
Okay, I'm going to speak on this image. Okay, so this is why I'm thinking about follow up with the case. Okay, because it don't stop there. It didn't stop there. You have to tell the story of what happened. Okay, so the young man supposed to have suicide. It was allegedly that he committed suicide. He, shot himself in the head. But the story to this is there's witness that was in the car when it happened. See, that's why I mean, make sure that you tell the whole story, because it may seem out of place. There was actually witness, and the witness says that he was mumbling something to himself, like babbling to himself, and then all of a sudden they just heard a shot. Now, before then, he posted a post saying that this the end and all kinds of other stuff before. That's why when I was certain cases I already kind of know about a little bit. So when I was telling you, you have to dive deep into, certain situations and make sure that you add the proper information to the case. We don't want to make it seem like we just, making it seem like it's a conspiracy theory without giving the full take on the information, which, like I said, some of these people do be on the suicide mission, and they be here and there, like they make posts and they be about trying to protest and all that, but they literally be having serious issues on their posts. They be making different comments and things of that type of nature. And that's why I say, when I was talking about Kenneka Jenkins' mom, how the one guy, he was, I think I start with a D or whatever, I forgot his name, but he was actually, doing an investigation, but then he got in the car with a gun and it was on live, put it to his head, and it was like, well, where'd this come from? So like I said, you have to understand that a lot of these people be going through personal issues themselves and getting into advocating and protesting and all that. Just take away some of the ease of what they're going through, but they do have personal life. Let's keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's why I said, well, I'm glad that you're saying this, because I did say I didn't have access to a psych profile and what have you. So now you're filling in a blank that, I didn't have access to. But the thing is, okay, I honestly say I'm a little skeptical of these official stories, so to go from being a social justice warrior, being a craw, not even, and I mean a deep craw, and the people at the time who had a problem with Mr. Crawford and other protesters, to go from that, and then all of a sudden he wants to off himself and does. I'm going to say, all right, fine. If that's the official story, that all of a sudden
Yeah,
he
but
had.
it was
Go.
post before. It was already post being made. You know, there was already been posts being made that he was going to end his life and it's the end and all this type of stuff way before, you know, this situation happened. So people actually followers of these people who make posts and say certain things before act upon it. They just don't happen that particular time. They just be crying out for help. But like I said, if you go a little further, which I'm about to bring up, you will see the story. I don't know why you stop because it's in the story. Like it's literally in the story that you just posted. You just have to go deep into the story. And it says exactly what the story on the story. So I'm gonna pull it up real quick so you
No,
can
I'm
see.
saying I'm aware of the official story, but I wasn't aware of the fact that that his site profile was actually put out publicly.
And you're aware that there was witness in the car? Because I ain't hear that.
That part.
You was aware that there was witness in the car?
That a witness, yeah, the official story, the witness, so on and so forth, and they watched him kill himself.
Exactly. So
Didn't try to run interference, they just watched him kill himself. Got it.
well, they said they didn't heard a gunshot, so they're not watching him kill himself. They actually heard the gunshot. You know, they was basically saying that he was mumbling and doing all that type of stuff, but they was, you know what I mean, doing whatever they was doing. But then they turned around and heard a gunshot, and they looked back, and that's what happened.
Yeah. Okay, Karima. I'm gonna just say, okay.
Sam, we gotta tell a story regardless of what you think about it or whatever. We have to make sure that everybody knows, because a lot of people don't know the story. But then, you know, let them be the judge at the same time with the full take of the information.
And you know what? I have no problem with that. It's called the integrity, the 8 eyes. So fine. Fill it in, bring it out.
Right.
Okay. I want to make sure that we keep everything on the level. So thank you. It's just that for me, timing is everything. And the coincidence and so on and so forth. But anyway, somebody who was just like Mr. Crawford was very prolific and very vociferous. And then after the fact, decided to kill himself. Got it. Not saying it's not possible, but you know, hey, thank you for bringing the complete circle and bringing that issue out.
I really don't know a protester who have not made personal threats online that said they was not trying to take themselves out and going through personal things.
So how about the case of Danye Jones? That's the gentleman. If you bring up the next image, Mr. Danye Jones, he's the one with the suit on.
Let's get into it.
Yes, ma'am. And if you're just tuning in, you're all welcome to the Lion's Den. We are your hosts, the seventh answer, Lady Karima, along with your brother Dark Storm. And what we're talking about tonight is, hey, y'all, do y'all see a pattern? The price is speaking freely. Like I said, these incidents that we're talking about and the individuals we're talking about who are out, you know, once upon a time, social justice warriors, so on and so forth, whatever title you want to attach to them. It's just odd how all of a sudden, right after the fact, in certain incidents they were involved in, they decided they want to just end it all. Just like I said, I am gonna be. Some of these official stories I think are full of caca, but because I wasn't there and I can't do my own private investigation, we'll put the official story out there and leave it up to you out there in the public to accept or reject what we put forth. But it's just this, it's not that many coincidences in the world where everybody who was a social justice warrior, who were outspoken, that the media had a problem with, that the prosecution and the governor and mayors of the time, where these individuals were showing up and showing out, all of a sudden decided to just commit suicide. All of them. That just doesn't make sense to me at all. At all. But, and when you have some of in the case of, let's say, Donye Jones, if you can find that image for me, he's the one who killed himself supposedly on October 17, 2018 in Spanish Lake, Missouri. He was found.
The image. Pull a story. I don't just want to pull the image. I want to be able to go to the link to be able to pull the story up. And this don't have a story, so I'm about to find a story to it so people can see it ain't. It's letting them be a judge for themselves, but not trying to guide their thoughts. Okay, so.
Well, I'm not leading. It's not even about me leading. All I'm saying, this young man here, his family was saying that, they don't believe the official coroner's report, and investigators saying that they found their son hanged, and he just did it to himself. And again, like you said, Seventh Answer, perhaps these people did have mental issues. Maybe they all, just suddenly decide to want to end it all.
Now, it ain't no maybe. If there's questionable posts and things of that type of nature, you have to take that in consideration. Things ain't always a conspiracy. Things are right there. You make it a conspiracy when you don't believe what's the evidence that's presented. Okay, it's okay to not believe some of the evidence, but if it's really just plain out, there's no, there's no mystery behind it. And I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to make sure that evidence is out there, plus the, you know what I mean, the witness. And if there are stories about the family saying this, let's put that out there or whatever, but we don't want to make it, more.
Yeah, but when I followed Mr. Jones's case, like I said, his family don't believe that story to this day.
Right, and that's what you should have given me, not just the image, because this is only Instagram image and it's not really leading to a story. That's why I say, where's the story, so we can break it down. I'm gonna go try to find it though.
Okay, by all means, please do. But ladies and gentlemen, we were looking at Donye Jones, who, another social justice warrior, he was very vociferous out there in Ferguson, Missouri, who, according to the official stories, and when he was found hanged, he killed himself. Suicide. Now, as I said, I don't have any direct abilities to go in and do my own private investigation, but my angle is this here, you all. Are you trying to tell me that damn near everybody who we gonna cover? I want y'all to think about this for a second. How come all these individuals who were involved in high-profile cases or revealing things that were going on that were irregular, unsavory, then all of a sudden off themselves? Timing is everything, you all. And like I said, I'm having a problem with that because, again, I'm not going to sit up here and pretend that I don't know and haven't seen where you can have a situation be orchestrated. And I want to make sure we understand the world we're living in. When you had all these slew of celebrities just start dropping like flies, how do you explain that all these celebrities, all of them, who were a thorn in Hollywood side, the entertainment field side, they all just suddenly came down with a severe case of sickness and illness and boom. And especially when we've had FBI and CIA agents come out and say, listen, We know that the government has chemicals and all kinds of other biological weapons that can simulate all types of illnesses and all types of common colds or whatever. And they had a list of people they want to hit. It's just a thought, something that we need to take careful consideration of. Now, when you had Bob Marley, who passed away of cancer, then come to find you had an FBI agent say on his death, confess, show papers and all that. It's been blown away and not talked about too tough. But he came out talking about, yeah, I had put a needle in some sneakers I gave to him, which hit him, and we took him out. Just something to consider, you all. But as seven, that's what we're gonna do. We want to make sure we give it a well-rounded uncovering and so on and so forth. But in the case of Mr. Danye Jones, right along with Edward Crawford, like I said, Mr. Jones was found hanged. He committed suicide. Just like you had, we're going to bring up her image later on, we had the case of Amber Evans, who also was prolific. She was 28 years old at the time, but she had put her brick in the Ferguson, Missouri case of Michael Brown. She was found face down in the Scioto River in Ohio. And she was found March 24th of 2019, 28 years old. And then you had Darren Seals Jr., a Black Lives Matter activist, 29 years old at the time, who was found dead September 6, 2016, torched and burned to death in his car. Supposedly, the official story was a carjacking that went wrong. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 individuals who were all tied together in Ferguson, Missouri, the Michael Brown case, and all of them came down with a severe case of death right afterwards or during that particular case. In that same time frame, or a little later on, we had state representative out of Missouri, Cora Faith Walker. If you don't know who Cora Faith Walker was, she was at one time a representative in the state of Missouri, and she was attending a birthday party for the then mayor of St. Louis, Tashana Jones. And then Miss Cora Faith Walker, who was also a woman's right advocate. She spoke out a bit against some of the things that were going on, forced abortions, all these. She was very prolific, outspoken on the Ferguson, Missouri case of Mike Brown. Not Mike Jones, Mike Brown. Michael Brown. And then she suddenly drops dead due to a heart ailment. I'm just saying, all these individuals linked together out of Missouri, and they just wow, gone. And she was just 37 years of age. Now, you can have a heart attack. Yeah, sure you can. Sure you can. But this is first they said, oh, well, we don't know what the official story was. Oh, there was no coroner's report. And then all of a sudden, oh, yeah, she died of a heart attack. Boom, that's it. Case closed. But she was, at the time of her death, she had just became a state legislator on a higher level. And then, boom, out of nowhere, gone. I'm just saying, that is just way too many patterns for me. But we welcome you all as you're coming in and everything else. Yes, Salah, I did fall off. I had fell off because I was being too animated and everything else and put myself out. So to Jeremiah Judah, welcome. What's going on, man? I see we got Vivian N6J. Shalom to you as well. Water Blue Ezekiel. What's going on, you all? So all these particular, what I'm talking about tonight, right, is just the fact that there's a difference between a coincidence and a pattern. And all these deaths of individuals out here, right? Like take the two individuals who spoke on the Boeing 747 company. All right. They wound up suddenly being found passed away. One by suicide, the other one, he suddenly just keeled over, or whatever the official story was. So two individuals who work for the same company were revealing the evils of the company and the corruption of the company, and they just up out of here, out of nowhere. So, like I said, when I did my research and everything, maybe I didn't cover all bases, but I did what I could. But my thing is not that many. I want y'all to think about this for us. It's not that many coincidences in the world. It never ceases to amaze me that all these individuals that I named aforementioned, it's only after the fact, when they were involved in certain high-profile cases, it's only after the fact they suddenly became suicidal and wanted to just die and they kill themselves. Not before, after. They were hated by and were given all kind of bad press when they were out there doing what they were doing. Even the case of, how many of them remember the case of Breonna Taylor? Remember the young woman who was a mail courier and she was cut down in her sleep by the police? Her boyfriend, they were sleeping and the police came with a no-knock warrant, kicked in the door, waving the 4-4 and whatever else they had going on, and killed her in her sleep. Do any of you out there in TV, Lions Den Land, remember, they mentioned the fact that Miss Taylor had a run-in with the police in regards to some drugs that were found in one of her routes. The media, one thing about, they mentioned it one time, didn't talk about it no more, but she wound up being cut down in her sleep. And then just recently, all the police officers who were involved in that particular incident, they were found not guilty, no criminal wrongdoing whatsoever. It's just a thought, y'all. Just a thought. Now, I'm not saying that, hey, maybe she deserved to die according to how they felt about it when they kicked in the door and her boyfriend defending their home. But my point is just timing is everything, y'all. And so what I'm gonna do is, while she's looking up a particular story, I'm gonna spell out their names, and I want y'all to do your due diligence. Maybe I'm guilty of an oversight, but I'm gonna spell out these names, you all. And these are all the individuals who were involved with the Mike Brown case. If you don't remember Mike Brown, he was a young man out of Ferguson, Missouri, who supposedly strong-armed a box of cigars and was shot down dead by Ferguson police officer Derek Wilson. To this day, the police have maintained, and the official story has maintained, that Mr. Brown tried to fight Mr. Wilson, police officer Wilson, for his gun. He was a menace, and he had no choice but to shoot him. Now, there were plenty of witnesses who said the young man had his hands up, surrendering and saying, "Don't shoot." But somehow the Ferguson prosecution, defense, and everybody else, they disregarded the witnesses who were up front and took the testimony of the 5 or 6 witnesses who were in the back and didn't see hardly anything. But their testimony is who they took. And Derek Wilson, of course, walked away free. But all the individuals who were involved in calling the prosecution, calling the defense, and everyone else out on their BS. You had Cora Faith Walker. She suddenly keeled over in a hotel while attending a birthday party for her friend, Mayor Tashana Jones. And that was in St. Louis, you all. In St. Louis, Missouri. Then you had Darren Seals Jr., who was a Black Lives Matters activist, 29 years of age, who on September 6, 2016 was found burned to death in his car due to a carjacking that went wrong. Then you had Amber Evans. Her name is spelled AmberEvans, Amber Evans, 28 years of age, who on March 24th, 2019 went missing, but her body was found sometime later, March 24th, 2019, in the Scioto River in Ohio. Danye Jones, Danye Jones, Jones, October 17, 2018, Spanish Lake, Missouri, activist involved heavily in the Mike Brown case. He supposedly hanged himself. Now, I'm not going to say that they may have possibly had mental issues. Some is, as the Seventh Answers uncovered with Edward Crawford. But I went looking. And like I said, it's kind of odd to me that all these individuals who were social justice warriors, who were all heavily involved in a thorn in the then Ferguson, Missouri, or the state of Missouri's behind, then right afterwards, all of them, not some of them, all of them came down with a severe case of death in separate, yeah. Okay, let me see who's talking. All right, you all are just listening. But my point, like I said, my point is this here, y'all. Pattern. I want you to think, I'm going to give you the definition of pattern again. A pattern is when something continuously continues to happen non-stop. Non-stop. And a coincidence is when you have maybe 1, 2, or 3, 4 events happen. They're not connected, but they just suddenly happen. So my position on this issue is this here, right? Because I see we can have a point, counterpoint, whatever. Listen, how do you explain that every time you look up, people who were involved in or uncovering on social media, they were all influencers or they were bloggers. In a 10-year time span, all these people All of them, not some, all of them committed suicide or they're missing and unaccounted for. I'm just saying, yo, that just doesn't add up to me. But again, you had some official stories saying that some of these individuals, well, they had problems. They had the official story. Or some of the individuals didn't have any issues going on. But they all decided to commit suicide right after they started uncovering and unearthing all types of government corruption or social corruption or just plain corruption. See, that's the thing that I'm having trouble with. I'm not saying that these official stories are not possible, but come on, y'all. Really? The pattern of it all. I could see if it was 1, 2, 3, or 4 individuals, and then it stopped. But all these influencers, all these bloggers, some of them were found their vehicle in a car crashes or whatever, and the vehicle turned over 15 or more times. Their bodies positioned in strange and angled ways. And that's something that, like I said, I find to be absurd. I don't believe it. I can honestly say I don't trust law enforcement worth a damn in this country. I don't trust the media worth a damn in this country. But I don't trust law enforcement in particular when we've seen and heard cases where they frame people. You do 20, 30, 40 years in prison on trumped up charges. So when I hear these official stories or we delve into the time that these individuals suddenly passed away, how come they always were involved in revealing corruption on a high level and then decide to end it all once they get a momentum going? Like the 2 gentlemen who work for Boeing, the company Boeing. They just both decided to kill themselves. Or, one was found in his pickup truck. Or I could take you back to when you had Special Agent Gary Webb, who revealed what was going on all throughout California when the crack epidemic was transpiring. And when he was found, he committed suicide, y'all, but he had 2 bullet holes in his head. He shot himself twice in the head. See, things like that. That just, come on, man. I don't believe that all these individuals, all these social media influencers and bloggers, upon their dying, committing suicide, all these people had mental issues. Really? Anyway, let me see who's talking. Well, we're not talking about treaties and things of that nature, Tyrone Django. This is We're on a whole other wavelength. Right now, we're getting our Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew and Unsolved Mysteries groove on. See, my thing is, I'm just mad that I don't have the monies needed to be able to do, from a private investigation standpoint, my own investigation into all these individuals and their sudden passing. Same thing with from all these celebrities, who many of whom, as we know, were voices out here speaking out against the industry, the Hollywood mafia, the gay mafia, and every other kind of mafia you can think of, and they all out of here. I'll name that: Prince, Bernie Mac, Michael Jackson, Mr. Russell Jones, once known as ODB, Aaron Moran, who we knew as Joni from Happy Days, Denise Matthews, who her stage name Vanity, the nasty girls and all that. Yeah, okay, right. Princess protege and one-time girlfriend of Rick James. Music extraordinaire Kashif, David Bowie. All these people just drop like flies. Suddenly get sick or whatever. But what was the common denominator with all of them? Every last one of them, you all, were voices of dissent, voices of revelations about corruption and the evils that were going on in the industry and what was being done to children. Wicked contracts, and they just suddenly all came down, including Charlie Murphy, Afeni Shakur, Tupac Shakur's mother. All these individuals, as soon as they started complaining and talking about ownership and being ripped off, yeah, Angie Stone, D'Angelo. You mean, come on, man. How come when they're not talking about ownership and money and being ripped off, their health and everything is just fine? But as soon as they start talking about the evils of the industry, being ripped off, they're not getting their fair share, then all of a sudden, cancer. All of a sudden, some of the sick, just any and everything is wrong with them after the fact. Do you see the pattern? Now, someone say, well, we shouldn't go down the road of conspiracy theory. Yo, come on, man. All right, I'll give you that. But my thing is, there is not that many coincidences in the world where all these individuals, when they put on their social justice warrior hat, that's when all of a sudden their health, mental or otherwise, just goes haywire. In the case of all these individuals who were actively involved with the Mike Brown case, out of here, gone. All of them became suicidal or just died suddenly of some kind of heart ailment or whatever. But before that, they were the picture of health, or seemingly the picture of health. Let's look at Shirley Raines out in California. All right, she was the beauty to the streets. From all accounts, a beautiful soul, had it going on, taking care of the people out there. She, she died back in January 27, 2026. But I'm just saying, her health all of a sudden or some kind of ailment came about, and boom, she just, even the media just said it, the way they termed it, she just suddenly died. Come on, man, how do you suddenly goddamn die, y'all? Break it down. Make me understand. How do you just suddenly die? 1 minute you're doing fine, everything is cool, and she just suddenly died. While she was, of course, while she was strongly protesting certain financial misgivings and how the homeless and the veterans out there and people out there in Cali weren't getting their fair share. And then all of a sudden, Miss Raines suddenly passed away. Or we look at the case of Ermias Joseph Ashkodon, stage name Nipsey Hussle, who on March 3rd, 2019, he gets cut down by Eric Holder, a Crip gang member by the name of Eric Holder, whose street name was Doodoo Cuz. All right. But his death suddenly comes about. This man, Eric Holder, decided to put bullets in Mr. Ashkodon or Nipsey Hussle on the eve of a huge symposium that he and mega producer and movie producer John Singleton were going to host and bring together. All of a sudden, this Eric Holder, he had an axe to grind, walks into the store that Mr. Nipsey Hussle was a proprietor of and kills him. And then later on, Eric Holder would blurt out during a court proceeding that the United States government paid him $75,000 to kill Nipsey Hussle. See, I'm just saying, is that a coincidence that here it is right after Nipsey Hussle passes on March 31st, March 3rd, 2019, a month later, on April 28th, 2019, John Singleton, who was a chief financier and a very strong advocate of what? Gentrification that was going on in California, where a lot of black folk were being pushed out of their homes. He had been for a long time staunchly against a lot of the corruption that was going on in California. Bringing it to light even in his movies, most notably Boys in the Hood, where you had Lawrence Fishburne, who played Furious Styles, started breaking down the whole issue of the importance of real estate, making what makes real estate grow or devalues property, how certain individuals will come in when the property is devalued and buy it up cheap and then build it back up. But right after Nipsey Hussle passes away, then John Singleton suddenly dies of a stroke. Oh man. Look, the official story, he died of a stroke. But all these individuals, when they are at the height of what? Being social justice warriors, that's when all of a sudden death comes a knocking. Like I said, I can't prove anything, but ain't that many coincidences in the world, y'all. I want y'all to see a pattern. It's a pattern. And it's something that maybe we don't want to see or consider. But as the late, great Muhammad Ali said, there are certain forces out here, when they operate, you don't see them coming. until they actually up on you. Think about that for a second. But anyway, like I said, what I'm doing tonight is just unearthing all these things. Well, Tyrone, I'm gonna say this. The reason I'm talking about these personalities, celebrities, personalities, and some of them who are not celebrities, the reason I'm talking about them is because, again, what I'm looking at is a pattern. All these individuals just suddenly came down, according to the official story in some instances, or outright when Nipsey Hussle was gunned down, or their health all of a sudden took a sudden nosedive right after they became social justice warriors and were revealing all kinds of corruption. Or some of them decided just to end it all when they were in the heights of revealing all kinds of heinous and evil corruption that was going on. Now you say, give my testimony, Django, Tyrone. Okay, I'll give you my testimony. I can attest to the fact that here it is, in my time in being involved in journalism and being a talk show host from a television standpoint on the what's called public access circuit in New York. I got stepped to by certain individuals who want to buy me out, wanted me to join their circle of influence. I got made offers in the whole nine. Okay? And I had a certain brother and mentor, I'm gonna name his name, James Mtume, who pulled me from there, who put me up on game. Believe me, I was considering it. I'm not gonna. A brother needed that money. That money was looking good, but I got pulled back. There are people out here who are playing for keeps. But anyway, I see a video was up. Let's go into it because we want to make sure we're fair and balanced. And this is where, if we go point, counterpoint, and let it be, and everything else, I want to make sure that, again, integrity is followed. Seventh answer, let's go to work. Oh yeah, whenever you're ready, seventh, by all means, run the video.
That's how it is. On the front side. Okay, go ahead. Sitting on the front side, smoking or whatever. And I was with my partner. I heard a car, a Hemi. So I'm like, let me see what this is. So they came around the corner from off of Adrian. I mean, from off of Diamond, from Chambers Way. When they came around, it was the Jeep in front. It was a Chrysler 300 with a Hemi in behind it. It was self-poured or a Chevy, something like that. I couldn't really see because it was dark up on the floor. The silver or gray. I couldn't really tell it. I was just think by the way they was fucking sounding. Like he almost ran into the bushes. Every time he tried to pull off, it'll cut off because he's not putting it in gear. I noticed because I know the driver stick. I'm like, oh man, how you gonna steal a car? You don't know how to drive it. I thought it was just a stolo. So when he parked it, he couldn't even park it for real because it kept rolling. Like damn, he can't even park the car. But the whole time I thought it was a stolo because dude got out the car with some white socks on his hands. It was only one dude that got out.
He was a black guy.
Yeah, black guy. And he had dreads to come think about it. He had some socks on his hand, and he wasn't that big from where I was sitting there. He was probably about your size. Yeah, he's probably about his size.
5'7", 5'8"?
No, probably a little bit shorter than that.
Really?
Yeah, because I was up on the third floor. From what I could see, he didn't look that tall.
Okay.
He did. Yeah, so he got out the car and ran up to the Chrysler 300, and they pulled off. They went back towards Riverview, and I thought they was gonna come back and take the rims off of it because I'm like, that's a Jeep, like they finna come and lick there, like that's exactly what I was thinking. But the whole time, not knowing there was a body in there, but a white boy came from Riverview way through the woods, and I'm come trying to crack like the whole thing. I was thinking, but the whole time, not knowing there was a body in there, but a white boy came from Riverview way through the woods, and I'm thinking he's gonna come try to find him some crack or something. I'm not really paying attention. Then by the time I turn away and look back, the whole car is in flames. Like the whole thing.
When the white dude walked up, could you see he had something in his hands or something?
Nah, I mean, I really didn't pay attention because I thought he just come try to find some work. You know, I really want to look like that's how it is. On the front side.
Okay, go ahead.
Sitting on the front side, smoking or whatever. And I was with my partner. I heard a car, a him. So I'm like, oh, let me see what this is. So they came around the corner stage. I mean, from my family, change way. When they came around, it was the Jeep in front. It was a Chrysler 300 with a Hemi in behind that. And it was another silver Ford or a Chevy or something like that. I couldn't really see because it was dark up on the third floor. The Chrysler was like either silver or gray. I couldn't really tell the colors for real because it's dark. Plus, I was high. I thought I was tripping. So he couldn't even drive it because it was a stick. I realized it was a stick, by the way, that was fucking sounding. Like he almost ran into the bushes. Every time he tried to pull off, it'll cut off because he's not putting it in gear. I noticed because I know how to drive a stick. I'm like, oh man, how you gonna steal a car? You don't know how to drive it. I thought it was just a stolo. So when he parked it, he couldn't even park it for real because it kept rolling. Like damn, he can't even park the car. But the whole time I thought it was a stolo because dude got out the car with some white socks on his hands. It was only one dude that got out.
He's a black guy.
Yeah, black guy. And he had dreads to come think about it. He had some socks on his hand and he wasn't that big from where I was sitting there. He's probably about your size. Yeah, he's like
Really?
yeah, because I was up on the third floor and from what I could see he didn't look that tall.
Okay.
He did. Yeah, so he got out the car and ran up to the Chrysler 300 and they pulled off.
So what was he talking about? Who was he talking about in the video? Oof.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. It's self-explainable. He said that he was a witness to, I guess, his part of seeing that there was a guy jumped out the Jeep with socks on his hands as if he thought it was a stolo, but it wasn't. Pretty much saying that he seen him jump out the car. But the thing that I was trying to point out, that it was a white boy came out the bushes. He thought it was a crackhead. It's crazy. But let me play this part right here.
At all.
Suicide.
It was not a suicide at all. At all. The young lady that's on my video that's posted on Facebook, she also went and spoke to the father. The police officers put the mother in the back of the police car, would not allow her to come around her and see what's going on with her son. So that's why her and her friend or cousin, the other young lady that was with her, came around her. By the time they got down here, the ambulance came down here. When I first got outside, that's what my video shows. Normandy police was not here. It was only Jennings police, St. Louis County cars, and Ferguson police. Normandy police did not come until after I came back from bringing my son to the doctor.
Municipality did the shooting?
This is Normandy.
Normandy.
This is Normandy District, but Ferguson shot him. Ferguson shot. Normandy has black uniforms.
Right.
Ferguson has
blue.
navy blue
Okay.
uniforms.
And how many shots?
I saw him shoot him out of my window.
You heard him shoot him 2 times.
Twice.
You heard shots on the other street.
On the other street. That's what made me. I heard 6 on the other street. That's what made me tell my daughter to get the pole with one hand. He turned around. If he had a gun in his hand, he would have never grabbed that pole and turned around in a moving motion. He did not have a gun. Now, from my understanding, they're saying that they found the gun in the backyard. I think that was planned. I can't see that boy running with no gun. You see what I'm saying? He did not have no return fire, anything like that. It was just all shots coming to him. Please hold on. Okay. So,
Hey, now was this young lady giving testimony to the case of Edward Crawford or Danye Jones? Seventh answer. Yeah, Karima. The video. Okay, in both videos, right? Are those individuals talking about Edward Crawford alone, or were they different testimonies about 2 different people? I was trying to follow the videos, and see who they were talking about. Was the young? Okay, the lady, she was saying that it wasn't a suicide at all. Was that in reference to Danye Jones? The case that took place on October 17th, 2018, out of Spanish Lake, Missouri? All right. I'll try to make sense of it all, but yeah. The videos that you saw, ladies and gentlemen, I think they pertain to the case of Mr. Edward Crawford. You know, the guy testifies about, his testimony was all over the place. 1 minute it's some white boy he sees looking to buy work, and he himself was high. You know, he saw a silver car, somebody jump out with dreads, socks. Okay. And he heard a shot and everything else. And in the case of Danye Jones, I guess this is the woman that we were listening to. She was saying that it wasn't a suicide or there was no gun involved. I was trying to follow along. All right, but either way it go, right? What the seventh answer did was she went and got, you know, a fuller, a more round completion of the circle that I'm drawing here, which is fine. Okay, again, we want to make sure we cover all bases. And like I said, in the book of Isaiah, the 41st chapter, verse 21 to 24, it's all about producing our cause and bringing forth all evidence. All right, but the position that I have, listen, I'm all for, you know, official stories or whatever have you, but in cases where these individuals all just suddenly just came down with a case of mental illness or something else going on, the pattern, y'all, I'm going to keep stressing that. I can deal with a couple of coincidences, but damn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 15 or more people, all of them involved in being social justice warriors or rumored to be social justice warriors, and all of them gone. Some of them missing. Ain't been found since. Could be a lie, but I'm just making. There isn't that much coincidence in the world, and there ain't that many official freaking stories in the world that'll make me believe that all these people just disappeared suddenly and by their own hand. Or they were actually murdered, but their cases remain unsolved. Or if they've been solved, here comes some narrative, like in the case of Nipsey Hussle. The individual blurts out, that being Eric Holder, the killer of Nipsey Hussle, blurts out, hey, the United States government paid me $75,000 to kill that man. On a court TV proceeding, a live proceeding, and he was being represented by Christopher Darden. And then Mr. Darden, the same Christopher Darden that tried to prosecute Orenthal James Simpson, O.J. Simpson, that Christopher Darden, yeah. He was representing Eric Holder, and then when he blurted that out, he suddenly pulled up, and a whole host of other people pulled up, and that case stopped being televised. I'm just saying, ain't that? And then right again, Nipsey Hussle gets assassinated March 3rd. I'm sorry, March 31st, 2019. And then John Singleton, April 28, 2019, suddenly died of a stroke. And they were both at the height of trying to bring about all the gangs in LA to come together, sit down, have a sit down, and iron out once and for all not being plagues to the community. The whole issue on tackling the gentrification that was going on then and now. And they both just suddenly out of here. Then you had January 27, 2026, the beautiful Shirley Raines, who was a social justice warrior, and she was a beauty to the streets. A beautiful soul. She was doing her thing. She too tackling all the misgivings that was going on with the homeless out there in California. And yeah, she just suddenly died, y'all. Just suddenly died. I'm just saying, man. Okay, a person could have health issues that go undetected for a hot minute or two. That could happen. But damn. All these people at the height of their social justice warring, all these individuals who were revealing all kinds of chicanery, that's when they decide to kill themselves. That's when they decide to have certain things happen. Wake up, and I want y'all to see the pattern. The two basic building blocks to learning is rhyme and repetition. I'm going to keep repeating it. Pattern. And I'm going to give you the definition again between the two. Pattern and coincidence. A pattern is when you have a series of events happen in continuity without fail. It's just every time you look up, something's happening, and it's along the same route. Pattern. A coincidence is when you have a number of incidents happen. They're not connected in any way, shape, or form, they just suddenly happen in the same time frame, making it a coincidence. And when you look at the word co, it's a prefix to a word. Co. It means something that is connected, something that is you bring together. Like when you co-op, when you cooperate, when you bring in conjunction, conjunction, junction, what's your function? Hooking up verbs, phrases, and clauses. But here, I'm conjunctioning all these particular individuals who, and they're speaking freely, and at the height of uncovering things, unsavory, corrupt is all get out, gone. Just like you had individuals when the whole COVID-19 was transpiring and the issue, you had certified doctors, health specialists talking about, I won't say, the virus and everything else, the shots and all that, who had their pages pulled, just suddenly pulled. All of a sudden, Hippocratic oath sworn specialist, PhD, whatever degree needed to attain their authority and their expertise in the field of medicine and biology, they were now being deemed as ministers of misinformation and disinformation. But then here it is sometime later, Dr. Fauci and everybody else who gave the green light on those shots, the hot shots, the lollipop. They were given immunity and they're advocating this. The censorship, the sudden pulling of, again, certified health practitioners. It's something to think about. So here we are now, 2 hours in. And like I said, the subject matter tonight is, hey, y'all, do you see the pattern? The price of speaking freely. Let me see what's this talking. Moving on. So what we do is we give a well-rounded and balanced, fair presentation of these facts and information. As I said, my only frustration is that I don't have the $1 million plus, what's the word? Financial kitty, war chest, to be able to actually finance on a personal level, to be in the field of private investigation, to actually go behind the official stories or unofficial stories of some of these individuals' deaths and people giving their testimonies that are questionable, and be able to do it and do an absolutely thorough investigation where you have boots on the ground. That would really be something that I would love to be able to do. Because it's just not adding up to me. It just isn't. And all I'm saying is, look, we have to not be afraid to be able to just give point, counterpoint, or be able to just put this out there to make people aware. Because see, again, how do all these stories, all of them, the majority of them, don't make mainstream media news. You can see all kinds of different stories and foolishness on this corporate media monolith and how you say, yeah, monolith and basically one-dimensional and predictable programming. Okay? But the stories that I'm uncovering, what I'm uncovering and pointing out, and other content creators are pointing out, they ignore. I guess they don't see the pattern. I guess they don't see how all of a sudden all these events transpire. As I said early on, when you had John Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, Charles Hampton, Fred Hampton, and other members of the Black Panther Party and other groups that were out at the time in the 1960s and what was called the Civil Rights Movement. What was the common denominator that was going on before they got cut down by assassins' bullets? In their particular instances, and then later on, individuals who were associated with the Civil Rights Movement and the Black Power movement, also, as it was known, suddenly came up sick, just suddenly dropped dead after the fact. Each and every time, they all started talking about the economic inequities and the injustices of the police powers at that time. Each time they all went that route, that's when they got hit with the hammer. As long as they just spoke publicly, they could speak publicly, they could, say what they want to say and talk a good game. But as soon as they all put on the cape, the face off, and go against the economic inequities and all the other issues that were transpiring in that day, which still go on today, that's when all of a sudden they got hit with the hammer. Then in 1974 and the 75, there was a huge conference. We've shown it here on the Conversation Continue the Lines, in where you had whistleblowing FBI and CIA agents attest to the fact that the United States government was developing biological and chemical weaponry that simulate common ailments. And they had select targets who they want to deal with, who they thought were troublesome. So yeah, let's talk about it. Let's just look at it. And be able to just say, wait a minute, hold on, man, come on. There's a pattern, all right? And speaking of patterns, I'm gonna switch gears for a hot second. Hey yo, what's up with y'all president, y'all? What's up with y'all president? That's right. Let's just go Donald J. Trump for a hot minute. There were certain videos I want to play, but since let's just go another route. Now, here it is. The Strait of Hormuz is being blocked by Iran, but now your president, Donald J. Trump, he now has the United States Navy, and they're going to launch a blockade on Iran. in the Strait of Hormuz. Now, let me get this straight. The United States of America wants to put a blockade on what's already being blocked.
Wait. Okay, so I'm going to give videos on what we were just talking about. Don't let's change the story yet because
Oh no.
that was Darren that I showed. Eyewitness for Darren Sealed, or whatever his name is, right? So I want to get into his
Oh,
part.
okay. I was wondering what happened to you when I was asking. So the young man.
But as I fell off, I was going to get some other videos that I needed, so it was okay. So the video that I showed was kind of like a part of eyewitness. Both of them are eyewitness to the murder. Okay, one is an eyewitness to the other guy we was just speaking about, and the last one is to Darren. So I'm doing Darren right now because I want to.
Okay. So the woman. Let me the woman who was talking about Danye Jones. No, I mean Darren. The young man who was found burned to death.
Yes.
She was saying it wasn't a suicide at all. That Darren's death was not a suicide.
Right. And it was going into it. I fell off on that video, but
all right.
I want to gentleman because they was talking about his last. I mean, because you gotta understand that they're in entertainment too. Okay, he was not just a protester. He was in rap industry too, and they was dealing with certain people like the Rockefellers. I mean,
what?
Jay-Z. Yeah, so that's why I say you gotta be going into these cases to see, the association and things of that type of nature too. So he definitely. The last picture he took was with Beyonce, but he also had an interview. The last interview he did was with them before he got killed. So I want to go into, the story that they're talking about, which is Jay-Z in the news too. So it's kind of crazy how it's leading up to the ongoing controversy that's going on with Jay-Z, and this person said insurance. Still on this show. I'm bringing the video so you can see more.
Yeah, but before you fell off, right? The video with the young man talking about he was high. Although he was high, he saw somebody with socks and a white boy. Was that the one? Was he talking about Edward Crawford's death?
No, he was talking about the dude with the burned car. He was talking about that situation. Okay.
Oh, so they were both talking about. They were both talking about Darren Seals. Okay, thank you. I'm just trying to get the story.
Okay, so yeah, he was explaining like he witnessed him, but then he started seeing all this other stuff at the end of the scene, cars and all that.
Okay.
But yeah, give me a minute. I want to go over here.
Sure, no problem.
But no problem. Videos, everything. I was actually going to line up everything he was talking about so they can have a clear understanding that you're not the only one talking about it, but at the same time, we just, talking about the situation around it too. But.
Yeah, of course. And come on, I trust your judgment, but I was just taking a little detour until, because I was trying to cause I kept asking you for you and you fell and you wound up falling off. All right. But look, out there in Lions Den land, like I said, as you can see, we're not afraid to go down these rabbit holes. We're not afraid to go into the Dungeons of Dragons with our double-edged sword and face off and deal with issues that now all of a sudden mainstream media, supposed mainstream media, is afraid to deal with. Because these things need to be talked about. The price of freedom. So here we go. Let's go to work. Wait, so that's Darren Seals with Beyonce?
Yes, it is.
Yes,
and then show says that it was his last interview before he, that happened to him. They was the last people that had an interview with him. So I'm going to show you this, and now I'm going to show you what's going on.
Oh, man. Damn. Wow, seventh answer. Ooh. So y'all stand by as the seventh answer. She's lining up this information, but yeah. I have to admit, I'm a little stunned on this Darren Seals joint. Wow. Yeah. And while she's getting those videos together, I'm just gonna switch gears and say, yeah, our president, he making matters worse out here, y'all, with this whole blockade. See, it's obvious that we're losing this war, and now he acting like a 6-year-old, talking about, well, I'm gonna block your blockade, Iran. But I want y'all to pay attention again to what we're talking about tonight. This pattern. All these individuals, social media, social justice warriors who were high profile, who were a thorn in the sides of, certain agencies, local, state, and in some instances, government, big money corporations, and then they gone. They just wound up gone. Like I said, with Kobe Bryant, like I said, I can't prove anything, but hey, it's funny how he was locked horns with High-Tech Pharmaceuticals. The name of the company is HI, spelled HI hyphen, that little line, hyphen, tech, High-Tech, TECH, Pharmaceuticals. In your spare time out there listening, I want you to type in High-Tech Pharmaceuticals versus Kobe Bryant versus High-Tech Pharmaceuticals, and I want you to look at the multi-million to billion dollars that Kobe was putting a full court press on this company, jamming up a lot of people's money, investors' money, and then suddenly he and his daughter, Giovanna Bryant, suddenly perished in a helicopter crash because Kobe, according to official stories that told this experienced pilot with about 100 plus hours of flight experience, on the day of January 26th, I think it was 2021, when Kobe and his daughter perished, he took a helicopter up in dense fog with zero visibility, and on that day, all helicopter aircraft and any small craft planes were ordered to be grounded. But somehow Kobe Bryant disobeyed an official aerial or FAA order to keep all helicopters and small engine planes grounded. And he took himself, his daughter, and other passengers to get to a basketball game and conference that was going to go on. And they wound up, as you know, the official story says, there was a malfunction, and all of a sudden, boom. But this all took place when Kobe had High-Tech Pharmaceuticals, on lock. So anyway, the seventh answer, and her even more powerful investigatory powers, has come up with this video, and we're going to run it for you all. Thank you for tuning in. The Lion's Den is where it's at. Hit that like and subscribe button. It's absolutely free. Let's go to work, seventh answer. Let's go to work.
But I ain't make no money off Mike Brown. I wasn't soliciting funds. I wasn't none of that. You know what I mean? But yeah, Black Lives Matter, Campaign Zero, all these motherfuckers, man, they making millions of dollars. They ain't talking about no little chump change. They ain't talking about no petty money. If it was petty shit, I still call them out, but it wouldn't be a big deal. Like, these motherfuckers is eating. Cars, houses. You know what I mean? They driving around in nice vehicles. All up the fact Mike Brown died. And it's the long-term effects of it. If they willing to keep sending our kids out every time they die for a little money, what's gonna stop these white folks, these cops? You know, what's gonna stop these people from killing these babies? What's gonna stop them? Ain't no consequences for it. Give these niggas a little money, they ain't mad no more. All they want was a little paper. They don't really care about Mike Brown being dead in the streets. Look at Tamir Rice, 12 years old. They don't even talk about him. They don't give a fuck about that shit. Give them a little money, they gonna shut the fuck up. Once white folks realize that, they start cashing out. Why do you think they ain't in the streets of Ferguson no more? Where the fire go? Where the passion go? Where the pain go? Where the anger go? Money. That's where it went. But I ain't make no money off Mike Brown. I wasn't soliciting funds. I mean, we all put things on social media so the world can know, but they literally just sat there and tweeted the whole shit. But while they tweeted the whole shit, I mean, you know, white folk, black people ain't on Twitter. Like, how many of y'all on Twitter? Nobody be on Twitter. It's white folk shit. So while they tweeting, they playing cat and mouse with the white folks. You know, they racist. They hiding behind fake pages on Twitter, talking shit, going back and forth, retweet. It's like a big ass show. But how people don't understand Black Lives Matter as an organization. They think it's just a hashtag and people just saying, man, anytime white folks are part of it, they put it in the media, something behind it. Believe that. So this Black Lives Matter shit, man, y'all gotta do some research on these people and find out who they are, what they've done, and all the motherfucking checks they collected. Google just gave these motherfuckers $500,000. I kid you not. You can look it up right now. Where that money go? Who benefiting from this besides them? And like I said, I got paper. I don't need no paper. I ain't put a GoFundMe up and put no money in my pocket yet. I ain't took no grant money. I ain't joined no orgs. All these fucking punk ass orgs. What the fuck y'all doing? Y'all getting paid. And don't think I don't know about you niggas out there. All you niggas in these orgs getting paid $5-10 grand a month, traveling the fucking world, speaking like y'all fucking helping the community, ain't doing shit for the community. You sell out motherfuckers. Y'all made these motherfuckers into who they are.
Wow.
We got blood, sweat, and tears in the streets for nothing. People risked their lives. People lost their jobs, lost their homes. Cats in prison right now doing 5-10 years behind Mike Brown. This Mike Brown shit. This shit was real. And all you niggas wanted was a couple dollars. We could have changed the fucking world. All you wanted was a fucking donation and a couple Twitter followers. You niggas is pussies. I mean, we all put things on social media.
Was this a mere coincidence, or did something deeper lie beneath the surface? Many activists have faced untimely deaths, but the circumstances surrounding Seals' murder raises questions that demand answers. Was this a mere coincidence, or did something deeper?
Remember when Jay-Z said this?
I think we passed kneeling.
Let me play it again. This time, look at the reaction of the lady sat just behind him. The reason why she's worried about how Jay would respond is because she's the CEO of Roc Nation. But in her former life, she was a federal informant. In 1994, Desiree Perez was arrested for bringing in 35 keys of Griselda Blanco into Miami. Under pressure, she agreed to wear white for the DEA. Quick side note. Desiree Perez is the name Dame Dash refused to say in this Breakfast Club interview.
Once it has certain friends, we don't even talk about them no more where I'm from.
Around that same time, Jay-Z and Perez spearheaded Roc Nation's prison reform initiative with Meek Mill. I guess their hard work paid off, because on the 19th of January 2021, this list was released. Desiree Perez's criminal past had just been wiped clean by the outgoing president, Donald Trump. Alright. Remember when Jay-Z said this?
I think we passed kneeling.
Let me play it again. This time, look at the reaction of the lady.
Let it play again. Okay. Wow.
What the fuck just happened?
Yep,
protesters like this guy, subject of this iconic.
Remember when Jay-Z said this?
I think we've passed kneeling.
Let me play it again. This time, look at the reaction of the lady sat just behind him. The reason why she's worried about how Jay would respond is because she's the CEO of Rock Nation. But in her former life, she was a federal informant. In 1994, Desiree Perez was arrested for bringing in 35 keys of Griselda Blanco into Miami. Under pressure, she agreed to wear a wire for the DEA. Quick side note, Desiree Perez is the name Dame Dash refused to say in this Breakfast Club interview.
Once a has certain friends, we don't even talk about them no more where I'm from.
Now, around that same time, Jay-Z and Perez spearheaded Rock Nation's prison reform initiative with Meek Mill. I guess their hard work paid off, because on the 19th of January 2021, this list was released. Desiree Perez's criminal past had just been wiped clean by the outgoing president, Donald Trump. Alright, remember when Jay-Z said this?
I think we've passed kneeling.
Let me play it again. This time, look at the reaction of the lady sat just behind him. The reason why she's worried about how Jay would respond is because she's the CEO of Rock Nation. But in her former life, she was a federal informant. In 1994, Desiree Perez was arrested for bringing in 35 keys of Griselda Blanco into Miami. Under pressure, she agreed to wear a wire for the DEA. Quick side note, Desiree Perez is the name Dame Dash refused to say in this Breakfast Club interview.
Once a has certain friends, we don't even talk about them no more where I'm from.
Now, around that same time, Jay-Z and Perez spearheaded Rock Nation's prison reform initiative with Meek Mill. I guess their hard work paid off, because on the 19th of January 2021, this list was released. Desiree Perez's criminal past had just been wiped clean by the outgoing president.
Yep, protesters like this guy, subject of this iconic photo, found dead via suicide, even though he had just gotten a new job and his family swears he wasn't suicidal. And this guy, who was found fatally shot in a burning vehicle. I don't believe that case was ever closed or anybody was ever arrested for it. Or this guy, who was found hanging from a tree. Cops say suicide, mother says lynching. DeAndre Joshua, also found shot in a burning car. Suicide. And this guy, who was known for live streaming the protest, he collapsed on a bus and couldn't be resuscitated, even though he was only in his early 30s. Later they said it was some sort of drug overdose. Of course, I can't say for sure that any or all of these were foul play, but the two murders were never solved. At least one of the suicides appears to have happened without witnesses. I find it all very interesting. But yeah, all that to say, don't show the protesters in the pictures. Yep, protesters like this guy.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck just happened, but my fucking, like, all my shit went out. Look. Like, all my shit just turned off. Everything turned off. And my shit gonna turn on. I don't know what the fuck just happened. Who got the last one?
So Rock Nation's insurance company is questioning why they're even covering the bill for Desiree Perez for some issues that she's having between her daughter that has nothing to do with business. A lot of people, still don't want to believe that Rock Nation could have set up Tory Lanez, allegedly. And it's crazy because my video that I did for Rock Nation Takedown, I had something else planned out for how I wanted that series to go. But in light of all these different things coming out about Rock Nation, I just decided to go in a different way so that I could try and really get people to see this from a different perspective. So the whole reason for the lawsuit is because Desiree Perez's daughter accused her of intentionally Baker acting her and wiretapping and surveillancing her and her husband to try and break up their marriage. Baker acting in Florida is sending someone into a mental institution involuntarily, not on their own accord. And so the insurance company, first off, you're misusing company coverage for your own benefit. The insurance company said, girl, you are guilty. We are not paying for this. So if you could set up your own daughter what makes you think she wouldn't be a part of helping set up Tory Lanez, allegedly? So it says here, on May 9th, 2025, Mrs. Perez's daughter, Mrs. Hadley, filed the underlying lawsuit against Mrs. Perez. Rock Nation, important to highlight, Rock Nation is included, right? Natalie Anderson, Dr. Daniel Bober, and other defendants. So here's a list of some of the things that Desiree Perez was doing to her daughter. I'm not going to read through all of this. You can screenshot this, pause the video, read it through. I'm just highlighting some really important notes here. So this one says, the amended complaint alleges that Mrs. Perez hacked or directed her technical staff at Rock Nation to hack Mrs. Hadley's iPhone and iCloud account. So you're telling your staff to do some dirty work. Okay. So right there is some of your proof, right? That Rock Nation has some shady ass business practices or shady things they do in general under their business, allegedly. What makes you think they wouldn't do these types of things to Tory Lanez, someone that turned down a deal from them, someone that they couldn't make money off of, someone that cracked the code? So it says here, Mrs. Hadley's claims against Mrs. Perez in the amended complaint are clearly not with respect to Mrs. Perez's duties as a Rock Nation chief executive officer and are unrelated to Rock Nation's business. Consequently, Mrs. Perez is not an insured as defined by the policies. Moreover, the coverage is excluded for the alleged conduct that Mrs. Perez intended or knew would violate Mrs. Hadley's rights to privacy and under the Fourth Amendment. Guys, insurance carrier is not about to cover you for doing illegal things. And then you just admit it, well, your daughter, right, got this lawsuit, which was proof. I mean, it almost makes you kind of wonder, like, how long have y'all been doing stuff like this? Because you were just so comfortable with it, right? Yeah, I'm out here doing some dirty work, but I'm gonna get my insurance to cover it. Girl, that's not how it works. And then goes on to say the remaining claims against Desiree include conspiracy, false arrest / imprisonment. Once again, false arrest / imprisonment, violation of Demarie's Fourth Amendment rights, violation of Story Communication Act, and violation of federal and state wiretap statutes. Guys, Rock Nation, you are showing your whole hand. And your insurance company caught you. It caught up with you. And I don't think that Rock Nation ever thought that this claim or this lawsuit would ever come to light. So you already know they over there scrambling. You already know. But tying this all into the Tory Lanez thing, for the people that really think that Rock Nation did not set up Tory Lanez allegedly, this is for y'all. This is for y'all because y'all think that that's just too far-fetched. It's not. When you're a billionaire, that comes with power. You got money. You can do a lot of things. Desiree Perez was setting up her own daughter, the girl that she gave birth to. Come on now. Come on. Leave a comment, yo. Let me know what you think in the comments.
Stupid at this point that I'm going to just do a tweet where I'm going to take every conspiracy theory around this and just list it one after the other. I got paid by Rock Nation. Jay-Z paid off the jury, and he paid off the judge and did a verse for the judge's grandson, right? Oh God. And he paid the Mexican dude to stab Tory in prison. And he paid off the doctor to say that she got shot when she really wasn't. And he paid off everyone else. Like yo, and I'm like, okay, this is so stupid that no one's going to believe this.
So you're saying the internet does what it does best. Twist stuff up, change stuff, conspiracy theories. But you know why I was trolling? Because you had to know the Jay-Z verse was crazy, but him getting stabbed by Rock Nation and all that might be believable to some people.
It might be believable. It might be believable. So you mean to tell stupid at this point that I'm going to just do a tweet where I'm going to take every...
We're kind of getting to dangerous territory. We have the insurance company for Rock Nation accusing them of basically finessing and finagling Now we're realizing where all this $1 million budget's coming, where they have like unlimited amount of money to pay lawyers. Of course, they're going to have money to pay lawyers when they're having the insurance company pay for it. They also have a lot of money to support their personal initiatives because they're using the company's money and abusing it. So that actually, if you ask me, would borderline on fraud. If you're having a dispute with your daughter and son-in-law, why is Roc Nation covering the bill, or not Roc Nation, but the insurer for Roc Nation covering the bill of all the fuckery you're doing? So again, Desiree Perez, Jay-Z, and the good folks over at Roc Nation, they've been caught with their hand in the cookie jar yet again. But we'll see what comes of this. We're kind of getting to dangerous territory. We have the insurance company for Roc Nation accusing them of basically finessing and finagling. Now we're realizing where all the $1 million budget's coming, where they have like unlimited amount of money to pay lawyers. Of course, they're going to have money to pay lawyers when they're having the insurance company pay for it. They also have a lot of money to support their personal initiatives because they're using the company's money and abusing it. So that actually, if you ask me, would borderline on fraud. If you're having a dispute with your daughter and son-in-law, why is Roc Nation covering the bill, or not Roc Nation, but the insurer for Roc Nation covering the bill of all the fuckery you're doing? So again, Desiree Perez, Jay-Z, and the good folks over at Roc Nation, they've been caught with their hand in the cookie jar yet again. But we'll see what comes of this.
Like, one time during the COVID stuff when everything was shut down, Mike overhead $250 million a year. Mike, the CEO of Roc Nation, my partner, the multi-billionaire company, Roc Nation and Ticketmaster. We needed $40 million just to stay alive. I called them, Michael Rapino. I said, Rapino, we're going to do this here, Desiree. I might not be here 6 months from now. Sink or swim. I hope you're here when things get better. I can't help.
Whoa.
I'm done if I had to write you a check. I said, I got this. And I played with cash flow. I'm a survivor, right? And so much so, he runs a multi-billion-dollar company, and he had a meeting with his whole 20,000 staff. He said that he wished everyone could run the company like Desiree runs Roc Nation. I say all that to you to say, it's sink or swim here. I know. Right now. It's like, there's nothing like, anyway, my real point was, it was sink or swim then. One person, when I thought, okay, we have people back, and I'm in the middle of this craziness going on. I was really crazy. Remember, I almost died. I almost died. This is the thing that no one's ever been able to figure out. And I'm sitting there, I'm going through this, and you gotta do it like that. And the one girl, she was my chief woman, she was my chief of staff. She said, "And how are you? Are you okay?" And I was like, "That's weird. Like, I'm not even used to that. Like, everybody always depends on me so much. Yeah. I carry everything."
The music business is one of the most sought-after industries ever. So many people, especially nowadays, want to be a part of the music industry. I personally know so many people who dedicated their lives to making music in hopes of making it big. People who would work 9-to-5 jobs just to make money for studio time. Young artists are so desperate to make it in the music industry that they become willing to do anything, even sell their souls for a shot. They give up their souls to get in the industry, only to realize that once they make it, the music industry is not at all what they expected. The grim reality is the music industry is where the devil resides. Greed, betrayal, and evil all run rampant within the music industry. Sadly, the artists that are so desperate to get in only realize once it's too late. Tory Lanez is an artist who had to learn this the hard way. See, Tory Lanez dedicated his entire life to becoming a rap superstar. It took him several years, but eventually he accomplished his dreams. On September 18, 2015, Tory Lanez signed to music producers Benny Blanco, Mad Love Records, and Interscope Records, dropping his breakout hit song, Say It. All Tory Lanez had worked hard for, he managed to accomplish, becoming a rap superstar and growing a massive fan base. What Tory didn't expect to happen was the industry turning on him and eventually getting rid of him. For the last few years, Tory Lanez's freedom was on the line after he was being accused of letting go at Megan, striking her in the foot during a heated argument leaving a Hollywood party. For quite a long time, people wondered what really happened on that night. According to Megan, Tory let go at her that night, but according to Tory, he never did such thing. He claimed that Roc Nation had contacted him, warning him not to talk about the situation or there would be consequences.
From Roc Nation that says, yo, we heard you're going to make a statement about what happened, and it'd be in your best interest if you don't make that statement. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't understand what the issue of me telling my fans, like, yo, look, it's not that serious of a deal. I went to jail for whatever this is. Like, I didn't get for that 2 days why that was an issue. 2 days later, TMZ report come out. All of a sudden, the affiliates of her circle start pointing like little subliminal fingers, like count your days and like.
Did Tory Lanez really do that to Meg Thee Stallion? Or was there more to the story that is being hidden? Most people who heard this story weren't sure who to trust, as Megan claimed to have been a victim who was injured but appeared fine days after the situation. Tory also claiming that Roc Nation was using the situation against him also seemed like a possibility. Megan herself is a part of Roc Nation's management, so it does make sense for her label to weaponize against Tory. Also, when you consider that Tory refused to sign to Roc Nation management and also chose to stay independent, you can start to see why the label would have wanted to do this. The more time that passed, the more information was becoming available about the case, even though still to this day, what really happened on that night remains a mystery. Some people believe Tory was guilty the entire time, while others felt that it was Megan's best friend Kelsey who did it to Meg after they got into an argument. I myself felt like this is what happened for many reasons. 1, Tory had no gunpowder residue on his hands when he was arrested. 2, the piece that was used against Meg appeared to be a female piece as it was purple. And 3, it was reported that Kelsey and Megan were fighting that night over Tory when all of this happened. I mentioned before that I genuinely believe this situation was spun in order to be used against Tory.
What killed Old Dirty Bastard just before he turned 35? Russell Tyrone Jones, better known as Old Dirty Bastard, was found unresponsive in a New York recording studio on November 13th, 2004. It was just 2 days before his 35th birthday.
Okay. All right. You know what, Seventh Answer? I'm going to say this here. Going forward, from here on out, if I come to you talking about wanting to uncover or go down certain rabbit holes, could you pull me back? These videos you just showed me just destroyed me. The Darren Seals in particular. I knew it was something questionable, but I didn't know it was that damn deep.
And his music was kind of good. But remember when I was showing you a long time ago how they don't want the positive, the protest music, you know what I mean? So they'll knock them off the block with, beef with certain people or try to get them signed to certain people so they could keep them on in their pocket on the low. You know what I mean? So it's crazy.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the whole angle now with this Roc Nation, it just seems like every time somebody is associated with them, they wind up catching their grave. Okay, I'm thinking about the young lady who, and I talked about her, and now I forgot her name, but somewhere around 2011, she was found in her place of residence. She had allegedly they were saying that she had an alleged affair with Jay-Z and all that other good stuff, and they found her gone. Allegedly, she committed suicide too, But now this Darren Seal one in particular, wow. And I'm just forgive my dramatics, but I didn't know it was that deep. I really didn't. All right, let's continue on. I'm starting to wish I wouldn't have even went down this hole. God damn. Go ahead. Take it away.
If you get hot, then you must get cool. Bad boys, bad.
Jay-Z and Beyonce's home surged amidst recent allegations.
Tonight, the Department of Justice releasing their final batch of files.
And the millions of newly released Justice Department records
connected to the late convicted senator Jeffrey Epstein.
They include Epstein's messages with powerful...
So Jay-Z is in the hot seat because Harvey Weinstein leaked shocking documents to expose some damning information about Jay.
Turns out that Trump wasn't the only one hanging out with Epstein. Jay had a close connection with Epstein as well. In fact, he would frequently fly out to the island, use Epstein's services, and that too with Weinstein of all people. But now that everyone's being exposed, Weinstein decided to throw Jay under the bus as well. And that stirred up major trouble for Jay because, according to the latest reports, the feds are planning to raid his mansion in Malibu to lock him away for good. And that's got Jay shaking in his boots. So it all started with the Department of Justice publishing over 3.5 million pages in compliance with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. This time, the dump included more than 2,000 videos and 180,000 images, along with a long list of celebrities.
Today, we are producing more than 3 million pages, including more than 2,000 videos and 180,000 images.
We're talking about the likes of Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, and Elon Musk. But the name no one saw coming, Jay-Z. And here's where it gets juicier. Jay's name was mentioned right alongside Harvey Weinstein. Apparently, the pair ended up on the authorities' radar thanks to a tip to the FBI. Apparently, an anonymous victim called in and reported that back in 1994, she was subjected to inhumane treatment by Epstein. She would routinely be violated at his parties. But then, in 1996, things got worse when she was residing with an unidentified party, and an unknown man abducted her from her home. The next time the victim opened her eyes, she was in the presence of Harvey Weinstein and Jay-Z, who proceeded to take advantage of her. Over the next few years, the victim was subjected to the same mistreatment. She was repeatedly knocked out with substances and found herself waking up in the company of strange men. She described the people performing these abductions as handlers, one of whom was Pusha T.
Justin, Jay-Z and Beyonce's home searched amidst recent allegations.
Tonight, the Department of Justice releasing their
Wait, did she say Pusha T?
The moment the party started, these young people joined them out of nowhere. The worst part, he heard some questionable things between the kids, Jay and Bay.
I don't know where they came from. For a rap party at 11 o'clock at night, drinking loud music and us dancing wild, like, I don't know where these kids came from. And then I happened to sit down because I was dancing with one of the assistants. And I sat next to this child, and the child sat next to Beyonce. So I hear B say something about, doesn't this look sexy, or isn't this sexy?
Honestly, that's a lot of evidence to land Jay in the hot seat. Fans want the authorities to come after him. So he was close friends with Diddy and Harvey and appeared on the Epstein files, but we are supposed to believe he's completely innocent? LOL. He's going to claim he never knew Weinstein nor Epstein, similarly to what he did with Diddy. This guy is a scum. Thankfully, it seems like the authorities are looking into the matter. According to sources close to the feds, the higher-ups are cooking up a plan to raid Jay-Z's mansion in Malibu. Surprisingly, some people are still trying to paint the music mogul as innocent, like Lizzo. She uploaded a video talking about how people are losing sight of the big picture and only focusing on one name in the 3.5 million pages.
Here's the people in the comments. I knew she was wrong. Jay-Z, I knew he was... What did it say Jay-Z did? He was there in 1996? Come on, people. Like, y'all are falling for it. It's the easiest, oldest trick in the book. And honestly, I'm losing faith in the average intelligence of the American person. Because, come on, just because somebody's name is mentioned in a 3 million document file of a person's life who's been lived over crimes who span decades, doesn't mean that every single person is an accomplice. He could be mentioned, he referenced Jay-Z once.
But to be fair, Lizzo's words are useless. There have been whispers about Jay's activities in the dark for years now, thanks to former bodyguards and Jaguar Wright. Safe to say things are not looking good for Jay-Z right now, and that's why he's on the run. Fans noticed that he deleted his Instagram account only a few days after the Epstein files dump.
Jay-Z apparently wiped his Instagram account after being named in the files. Huh.
Wow! He made one post promoting a Netflix movie he helped produce, but now his account is gone. Some fans believe he's packing up his things, but let's be real. Jay-Z is going to need to pull a lot of strings to wrap up this mess. The documents are cold, hard proof of the skeletons in his closet. And worst of all, they're public information. They confirm what insiders like Jaguar have been saying for years. That kind of evidence can't be simply brushed under the rug. The only question, are the feds going to release more docs? And is Jay-Z going to bring down more people with him?
The feds, they got him now. Diddy, he just told everything. Jay-Z, he was the main one who basically was out there telling them to come to the mansion. And I want everybody to know when they went in that mansion, they instantly went right upstairs to the master bedroom. This is where they found the evidence that they was able to use to come back and get Diddy. I want everybody to know this is a sad situation and Jay-Z bogus for what he did to Kim Porter. I want everybody to really pay close attention to the key facts and really look at everybody who's involved involved in this, because from what the investigators are saying now, they saying that Jay-Z was the main one who told Diddy to basically make them go around the back instead of in the front. He didn't want them to cause too much traffic to their party that they basically was having. They instantly went around the back. Next thing you know, this is what everybody started telling. Everybody instantly, they started writing affidavits saying that this is what happened inside of Diddy parties. That's when the freakouts got exposed. This is why TD Jakes told Young Miami she don't need to get on no more Diddy jets. Y'all see the relationship between Diddy and TD Jakes, it actually fell apart. I want y'all to really pay close attention. Hit the like button if y'all rocking with Kim Porter. Hit the like button if y'all rocking with Tupac. Let me know if y'all feel that this was a whole setup from the beginning.
Federal overrules. So again, the feds are in charge of this. They're coming for him and they're going to throw the book. Again, whether it's a RICO or a kingpin, they're not going to let up. This is a man that is currently liquidating his assets. He just completely walked away from Revolt. He had stepped down as chairman because of the civil suits and didn't want to put a bad name on the company. But now he's completely liquidated. You do that when you need cash because he's worried that they're going to seize his bank accounts. Former MDC Brooklyn warden claims Diddy should watch his back in prison because a former warden at the facility, he is saying there is a whole lot of inmates who will seek him as a badge of honor. As you know, Diddy is currently being held in the MDC Brooklyn, a notorious federal detention facility in New York City, without bail. Sources with direct knowledge tell us that Diddy is being held in a special housing unit away from the general population. Lindsay, former warden of MDC Brooklyn, tells TMZ Diddy's location in the SHU makes sense because he's a target behind bars. With his celebrity status and the nature of the allegations against him, he potentially brings unwanted attention from other inmates. In fact, Lindsay claims some would consider killing the mongrel a badge of honor, so prison officials want to minimize access to the star in the SHU. Lindsay says Diddy's lifestyle will be heavily regimented with just 1 hour of rec time per day and 3 showers a week. We're told family and friends will be allowed to visit periodically, while his lawyers will still have some access to work on his case. A day in the life of Diddy, Cameron said he will receive a 6 a.m. wake-up call, at which time
the feds, they got him.
Jay looking mortified.
What up, big dog? Jay, your favorite album cover of all time. What was the one that you loved the most?
Jesus Christ, that's too hard, man.
Which one?
He like, where the car at? He about 2 questions
What
away
TV
from
show you been
Epstein.
watching right now?
He like, shit.
Dude, you're my favorite rapper of all time. You're my favorite rapper of all time. You're such a subject.
He like, please don't ask me about Epstein, please.
I've never actually looked. I'm gonna put this out. No, I'm gonna take a photo.
Ah, yeah, he ain't had no nuts. Nigga ain't want no weird questions, boy. You ain't had a, I don't know who that was doing that interview. You don't got no cojones. You don't got no nuts. You love the most.
Jesus Christ, that's too hard, man.
What
Who you got for the game, Jay?
what TV show you been watching right now?
Because you're like, dude, you're my favorite rapper of all time. Don't do me like You're my favorite rapper of all
Is
time.
it clear to see that something's just not right with Jay-Z? Something's not right with him. After being encountered with this reporter, this undercover reporter just asking him simple questions triggered him to start fidgeting all up inside of his pockets, untangling, unraveling his jacket to get a little bit more air because he started to get a little bit steamy in there because he couldn't handle the pressure.
You love the most.
Jesus Christ, that's too
Looking back on the last year,
It was hard, really hard. I was like heartbroken.
really?
Yeah, I'm glad we got right to that, so we could just get that out the way.
Okay.
Like I was really heartbroken by like everything that occurred,
Mm-hmm.
with all like, we in the space now where it's just like, almost like consequence is not thought about enough. So everything is so instant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like that whole Busby,
The civil lawsuit that was dropped, dismissed.
that shit took a lot out of me. I was angry. I haven't been that angry in a long time. Uncontrollable anger. Like you don't put that on someone. Like that's the thing that you better be super sure. It used to be like that. Like you have to be super sure before you put those kind of things on a person.
Mm-hmm.
Especially a person like me. Like even when we were doing the worst things, we were doing bad, we had those kind of rules. There was a line, no women, no kids. You hear those sayings, but those are things that I took from the street. Morals, integrity,
Code.
those things I took because we lived and died by that. So it's strict for me. Like it meant a lot to me. I took that really hard. And I knew that we was gonna walk through that.
Mm-hmm.
We was gonna walk through that because first of all, it's not true, and the truth is, at the end of the day, it still reigns supreme.
When you're feeling these feelings, how do you then bounce back and get back to being Jay-Z?
I don't know. This is the first thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
Actually, it was just like, all right, man, we played enough defense. 2026 is all offense.
Talent, not taking advantage of people, not taking advantage of a system, not creating tax loopholes, not just taking from other people. No, my talent pushed against all the headwind.
Mind you, this is coming from the same guy that sold crack cocaine back in the late 80s and early 90s to his neighborhood in Brooklyn. And he used the drug money in order to fund his rap career and brags about it in his music. This is the same guy we're talking about, right? He claims he's never taken advantage of anybody, but yet he worked hand in hand with Russian oligarchs back in the early 2000s and 2010s in order to fund a stadium that was going to be smack dab in the middle of Brooklyn neighborhoods that he grew up around and inside of, that would completely displace people that were in those neighborhoods. They used Jay-Z's face and part of his investment in order to basically trick people into believing that this would benefit them, and it did not. This is also the same Jay-Z that has mountains of allegations against him for blackballing, blackmailing, abuse accusations. This is the same guy, and he claims that he became a billionaire not off the back of other people, but off the back and the strength of his hard work and talent. Let's be serious. There is so much more to talk about, but if I keep talking about it on here, I will get banned. So I made an hour-long podcast episode all about Jay-Z.
Do you feel like he's truly reaped the karma of all his actions?
Where the karma is at?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we don't see it. Nah, well.
Or do you feel like he ever will?
I feel like if you done people wrong, you know you done people wrong. At some point, you know what I'm saying? At some point, you know it's coming. You know what I mean? It's not just karma. That's just the forces of nature or how things work. You ruin people's lives. You do harmful things, and who's to say that he might ever pay that price? Who's to say he even done anything wrong to anybody else in his eyes? To me, that's not even the same person. That's someone else. It's not the Sean, the Jay I grew up with, and I don't know them people. As far as I'm concerned, it's like, end of the day is they don't give a fuck about me. They don't give a fuck about my family. So why should I care about them? People be like, yo, you got a lot of compassion and forgive them. Because if I sit there and just keep looking at these Southern, all that shit, whole hate and animosity, like, you know what? I need Jay to be successful. That's what I want people to know. I'll be praying off his downfall if I sit here and want him, oh yeah, he is doing something with Puffy. That's corny. I need him to continue on being on and on, because guess who he's not going to get rid of? You're never going to be able to get rid of the beginning. And I don't see how they don't think about it. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know, bro. Those celebrities, man, I just learned to see that they only care about themselves. You know what I mean? They ain't doing nothing for our city. You know what I'm saying? They ain't doing nothing for us. They don't know what's going on in our city. You know what I mean? So I kind of like I said, I just use this shit as a platform to get what I need to get done. A better opportunity what I need to do. I see the impact of telling my story on how many doors this shit opened up. How many lives, how many dudes on call hit me up in my DM and say, yo, you know what? Listening to your story had me thinking from a different perspective. I even told him, say, yo, you know, it's a possibility Jay saved my life. Because if he would, at the time of who I was then, if he'd have looked out for me, I wasn't going to act right. I wasn't going to act right at all. And I was going to bring in a bunch of people that wasn't going to act right neither. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's why it all works out to almost saying like, yo, you know what? This shit was meant for me not to deal with none of that because it wasn't going to work out. He gave me a bunch of money. I probably still just try to take over this. I'd really try to take over. I'd have been trying to get to Columbia or some shit. I'd have had twins with Kelly Rowland and all that shit by now. You know what I'm saying? like I would have went in there and tried to kill all them industry chicks, models. Like, you crazy? I'd have brought my whole crew in. Like, let's get them. You know what I'm saying? But that shit wasn't meant for me.
Kelly, I feel
because the team of people that I mess with.
One of the things where I was just like, he's out of here, Jake. I just let it go. Because I couldn't believe he did a project with her.
So y'all, apparently everyone has something to say about how much a snake Jay-Z is, allegedly. This is his ex-best friend, y'all, who when he went to prison, he told him he got him and he never went back to see him again. Like, why would you do that? What kind of person are you?
All right. Yeah. Okay. Seventh Dance, you just close it out with a bang. Yeah, that's enough. That's enough. All right. Oh wow. Damn. Okay. Listen, you all. We want to thank you for allowing us to come in.
Hold on. Give me a few more minutes.
Oh, okay. Wow. All right.
Yeah, I want to paint who he really was and what his position was.
Wow. All right, take it away. I'll stand by. Yeah, let me just maintain. Go ahead.
Right. One of my first robberies with Jay. I was with Jay, right? And so when I said, yo, Jay, we got to go do a robbery and shit. And this is how I knew stick-up shit, robbery shit with me. You know what I'm saying? So, boom, we go on a robbery, and next thing you know, we catch these two guys in the train station. Boom. I back out on them. Yo, this, you know what it is type of thing, robbery. And I go through their pockets and take all their stuff out their pockets. And I just leave, run from there. Right? I just left. I ran from there. All right. You know, 2 minutes behind me, Jay come running like, yo, how do you leave and you got the gun? You understand? Like, how do you leave and you got the gun? And not only that, look, you left the jewelry and everything. I had to take their jewelry off their neck and shit. I was like, you know what, man?
So Jay actually had to finish the robbery? Like,
yeah, exactly.
He's
Right?
like, okay.
Nah, no bullshit. I never told nobody that story. But honestly, that's what I knew for sure that I'm not no stick up. That ain't for me.
Every shootout I've been in, every beef I've been in, every situation I've been in is either I've been by myself or I had to defend him. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you see my mom when they're like, yo, my son never really got killed. He was always behind Jay. Whether I was getting guns put to my head behind him, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah.
So why I was behind him? He had like a big mouth or something?
Nah, I mean, I remember one day, you know what I'm saying, niggas from the other projects came and robbed him and shit, took some shit from him, took some jewels from him and shit. And you know, man, I'm like, yeah, man, fuck that, man. Who, what? We going to get that. Sumner? I used to live in Sumner. I went to school with these niggas. Yeah. Bro. So I go back up to Sumner, bro. They was already waiting. By the time me, Jazzo was there. I want to say, I think Tata was there. I can't recall, but I tell you what, them niggas told them niggas to turn around. They had us surrounded. They had it already going down. Told them niggas to turn around. I stood there right in the middle, and the niggas told me drop to my knees, and they had a gun like this to my shit. And I'm looking at these niggas, and I'm like, yo, my nigga, we rode bikes together. We played ball together. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at one of my dudes, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yo, this is me. That's the only thing saved me. My man like, nah, yeah, let him go. You ain't getting them jewels back.
Yeah, said Rob don't get shit back.
You know what I'm saying? I could have went home and got my right. I could have went and got the team.
But y'all had a strong team in Mossy, right?
Yeah, I could have went home and got my right. We could have went back up there, and it turned out to be a whole different story.
Yeah.
A lot less bodies.
But y'all down the block. Mossy,
you know what I'm saying? It's one of those situations, bro. I never did. Violence never solved nothing for me.
Right.
I always felt like anybody that's out of bounds that don't play fair, they gonna get dealt with anyway.
Exactly. And you can't get money and have violence at the same time anyway.
You can't, you know what I'm saying? But to me, that was an eye opener that everything ain't gully all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But who it was behind.
I don't say who anything, man. I look at it and I tell my story. I tell you a story about, I don't know, 5 or 6 different incidents where I put my life on the line for someone. I don't say who anything, man. I look at it and I tell my story.
During my trial, look at me in my face telling me, yo, don't worry about it, bro. I got you. And I never see him again. On Drake album, which one? Yeah, Drake album. He spoke about an incident with someone I know put him in fear of his life.
Right.
My man saw you stealing from me.
Right.
He saw you. You red-handed. You know what I'm saying? You're lucky he didn't kill you. You know why he didn't kill you? Because he got love for me. Sit here and tell me, yo, this is what's going on between me and Jay, and I got to tell him, okay, just relax. He looking at me side eyes like, yo, that ain't the rules. He's only playing by the rules. It ain't my fault. You showed greed. You know, you showed greed in the operation that you ain't have no part of, that you shouldn't have been around, that you shouldn't have been in, and this is what happened. Jay, I've never been in any issues on the street. Any issues he ever had, I handled that. Any issues. From reasonable doubt, when he sit here and tell you, my man got his side sprayed up on Uptown Block, that's me. That's me with this scar from here up here. So he never had no street issues. He wasn't never built for that. That's my little brother. And like I said, when I got shot for him, like, I really got shot for him. Because I could have got off the set. I'm not going to be able to face his mother if I let something happen to Jay. I remember her words. I remember his mother saying, please, when he left to live with me and Trent, I remember his mother saying, just look out for my boy, make sure my boy is good. This is where I go to show people that, yo, you can do whatever you want, have many times for a person, take care of a person, do this, do that. But the one time that Jay don't agree, if something go wrong, how they could just toss you to the side? During my trial. From reasonable doubt, when he sit here and tell you, my man got his side sprayed up on Uptown Block, that's me. That's me with this scar from here up here. So he never... Yeah, okay. All right. Just when I thought we went deep, I went deep, you went deeper. And so, with that being said, okay, wow, 17. That just threw me for a loop. This whole, what you just, whew. All right, let me get my composure.
And this is last month. All this stuff is recent. Like, it was last month up until now. And then they tying him with Snoop. I mean, Snoop and Tupac's murder. So all this is like, coming up with this and all this conspiracy theory. But yeah, we might need to do a part 2 so you can go back around. I don't think I want to.
I know I was I thought I was raising the questions and all that, but you just took it. Oh my! All right. Okay, if you want to do a part 2, we'll confer. But I wasn't expecting all that.
Yeah, the individuals, we want to go back into the individuals and, their situation. I'm still trying to go lead back into there, but you got to understand these activists was actually in the entertainment, kind of like in the rap industry too. So, but I do have videos that I want to show in regards to what you were saying with these activists. I do have a lot of videos.
Okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. So we'll do part 2. Hey, y'all, it's the pattern. And Salaya Ben Yah, I'm gonna say this to you. It appears that Dame Dash may not have been in the Epstein files. His name ain't been mentioned. And considering he got kicked out the club, so Salah, to answer your question, I doubt he might have been. I don't think Dame was that deep, bro. Because he got kicked out. Remember, he got kicked out the club. Damn. But anyway, wow. So we'll do a part 2 on this. Yeah, we got to come back. I'm reluctant now. Like I said, I wasn't expecting that. Just threw me for a loop, the whole Darren Seals thing. But anyway, you all out there in Lions Den land, as much as we love talking to you, it is now 2:00 on my side of the coast, making it probably like 12:00 midnight in Seventh Answers dimension. And for all you out there who may be looking at us in different time zones, we thank you for allowing us to come into your mind, soul, and cipher. And at the start and end of every day, don't forget, it's your responsibility to check things out for yourself. So we're gonna come right back at you. I am just blown away on this last segment of it. And so
yeah, because I got information where they're trying to say that he was being followed by the police and he got harassed. So they believe that the police is involved. You know what I mean? It could be a lot of parties involved into this situation. So I don't want to take away from your original thought.
I know, but now I mean it when I say I'm kind of regretting I even started this one. Damn, because but but we gonna definitely have to. We gotta tackle this. I can't buckle now. You know what I'm saying? I jumped out there. Wow.
Because the simple fact that with how it happened, gunshot, fire, which one came first? Like, we have to still, keep in mind that, all of this, including these other parties, can play a role into every one big picture.
All right, Seventh Answer. You're quite right. You're quite right. So with that being said, you all, you've been thoroughly given a strong education by the Dynamic 2, Virgo Energy, the Seventh Answer Lady Karima, Black Beauty Inc., also Dark Delight, and me, Dark Storm. We hope that you've enjoyed this conversation, even though some of it has left me a little, not a little, a great deal frazzled. I did the surface, but I ain't, yeah. But anyway, just be careful out here what company you keep. Hit the like and subscribe button. Tell a friend. And we're going to come right back at y'all on this issue of, hey, y'all, do you see the pattern?
Yeah, then I want to talk about this other case that just recently happened where this African-American woman who was bragging about this how European men are, this and that, making multiple posts about how she enjoyed her, white chocolate, okay? And talking about Black men and things of that type of nature and all this other, talking about missed kids and things. Then she ended up going on vacation with her white chocolate and end up dead. So this is
lynched. She found hanging.
Yeah.
She hanged herself. Suicide. Yeah.
So-called. Okay, so.
All right, Seventh Answer. Wow, you're just gonna take. I'm trying to find a way out of this, to be honest with you, but you just nope. You're like, nope. You want to go? Let's go. So, all right, we're gonna come right back at you. Stay tuned, you all. Part 2. Hey, y'all, do you see the pattern? The price of speaking freely. And again, this is the Lion's Den. And when you step into the Lion's Den, you're stepping into the light. And in closing, we thank you again. Hit the like and subscribe button. Seventh Answer, you have any parting shots? Well, if not, thank you out there.
Hit the like, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, and Salaya Ben Yah, Tyron Django, Water Blue, Ezekiel, all y'all who chose to listen, thank you for tuning in. We'll be right back at you. And we always give an honor to the Lord in Christ from whom all thoughts flow. I give an honor to one of our mentors and brothers in spiritual essence, the one and only, the third answer, James M. Timay. And in the spirit of God, Cornelius, on the Hebrew tip, important we always say, Shalom. We hope you have peace. Because everything we do is a labor of love and the posh. Please protect, watch over at all costs those you love in your own soul. And we are indeed up out of here. Good night, and good day or good evening, depending on what time zone you're watching this in. Take us out, Seventh Answer.